Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ishmael Stadium on the campus of Lexington Lafayette tonight for the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week. Gary Ball with Coach Mike Meehan and William Warfield, the King of String producing. And tonight, Coach, a team that you're very familiar with. You coached at Bryan Station back in the day. The defenders come in here to try to take on this Lafayette team. We'll talk to both coaches here in a couple of minutes. What do you expect here on this beautiful night, Coach? Lafayette and Bryan Station here, the White Greer Maggard game of the week.
Well, one thing I expect is for Lafayette to try to power the ball, use their quarterback as both a runner and a passer. And Bryan Station, Gary, you're going to hear Frank Park say this. We say it all the time. Bryan Station has got to limit the turnovers. They got to control the ball. They've got to make good plays, not make errors, and make sure that they don't turn the ball over. Because you know as well as I do, if they turn the ball over to Lafayette, they're powerful.
I saw Bryan Station early in the year. William Warfield and I covered their game at the Roy Kidd Bowl. They beat a really good Wayne County team. They also beat a Madison Central team that's undefeated except for that game. They're 5-1. We'll step out. We come back. William Warfield, the King of String, will play the coaches' interviews. First up will be Coach Frank Parks of Bryan Station, then Eric Shaw of Lafayette. It's pregame of the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week. Tonight, it's Lafayette at home against Lexington Bryan Station here on White Greer Maggard Game of the Week.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthopedics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not happy with my teeth. They're not straight enough.
Let me fix them for you.
No. You are not White Greer and Maggard.
I'm sort of like White Greer and Maggard. I'm local, love smiles, love to fix things.
No.
Sorta you isn't you. White Greer and Maggard, where a beautiful smile is just the beginning.
I am Lee, and I'm happy with my smile. And I'm other Lee, and I ain't happy with my smile. I went to White Greer and Maggard, and they fixed my smile for me. And I never smile, and that's why I'm having some alone time here at dinner. I love that I can go to White Greer and Maggard with all my questions. And I love that I don't have to brush my teeth at night. Don't be like this, me. Go to White Greer and Maggard for a picture-perfect smile.
Hi, this is Gary. Welcome back to Ishmael Stadium, and we're going to hear from both coaches. First up will be Frank Parks, the head coach of Bryan Station, and then we'll talk to Eric Shaw. But here's our interview before the game with Frank Parks. Welcome back to the pregame tonight. It's Bryan Station going up against Lexington Lafayette. Frank Parks, the young coach at Bryan Station. And, Coach, it's Lafayette and Bryan Station, big city rivalry. Only game tonight in the city, really.
Yeah, it's a big game. The last few times we played, it's been close games. So, usually it's a dog fight. So, hopefully it'll be a good game tonight as well.
Have you seen the maturation of your young quarterback, Burbage? Only a sophomore. You've got, of course, Floyd, too, backing him up. But I know you really like Burbage because he gives you a dual threat.
Yes, he has been doing a pretty good job. We continue to ask him to progress and let us open up the playbook a little more. So, it's all about managing the turnovers, just get the ball in his hand and, you know, be able to use his feet when we need him to. So he has been doing a pretty good job.
Coach Parks, it's Lafayette tonight. They're a very talented team. They have a quarterback that's headed to UK and Walker Wood. As you watch them on film, what about Lafayette is so hard to stop from your vantage point?
Well, Walker, he's that leader. You know, when things start to go bad, he rallies the troops, and he does a real good job of just leading our team. I think he is, you know, the engine that makes them go. So, you know, he's a vital part of what they do.
Defensively for the defenders, Coach, I mean, your name is the Bryan Station Defenders. So on your defensive side, who's been stepping up for you of late that you really want to point out to us here on the broadcast?
Quentin Flores has picked it up since, you know, the first couple of games. You know, we had a good talk, and I told him, you know, we're going to go as far as he takes it defensively because he's one of the few who is back on the defense, and, you know, he's a senior, so he has to step up and play so the defense can feed off of him.
People say, does Station have any signature wins? You really do. You defeated a very good Wayne County team in overtime, and you defeated a really good Madison Central team, 28. So would tonight be another big signature win for Station?
It would, because if you really looked at our schedule, we ain't had too many teams who haven't had a winning record.
Right.
So, you know, this young team, we have really played a tough schedule. So, you know, like you said, you go down to Madison Central, they haven't been beaten before us or after us, and, you know, Wayne County has been rolling. And even some of the teams we lost to, you know, Simon Kenton hasn't been beat. So, you know, we played a really tough schedule with a young group of kids.
Right.
So, you know, this would be another good win. Anytime you win a city game, it's a good signature win for you.
What do you think of the keys for Bryan Station to get the win tonight over Lafayette?
Well, we have to manage the ball, not turn the ball over, and tackle. You know, get them in. We got to win third down on defense. You know, the last few games we had multiple turnovers, 5 and 6 turnovers, and it's hard to beat any good teams when you turn the ball very much. So we have to really limit the turnovers, and we focus on moving the chains. Just move the chains. Don't worry about the big plays. You know, we want to move the chains and, you know, let our offense work in that way.
I know you like it when PrepSpin brings the cameras out, because last time we brought the cameras out, you beat Wayne County in overtime. So good luck tonight, Coach, and thanks for joining us on the pregame.
Appreciate you having me.
Frank Parks, he's with Bryan Station. We'll come back with Eric Shaw of Lafayette. This is PrepSpin.com, the leading digital network for high school sports in the state of Kentucky. Hi, this is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards. They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of their 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up in all sports. Pick it up in all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not loving my smile. I should have got braces when I was a kid. I want my teeth to be straight.
Dude, go to White, Greer, and Maggard. So, I see you took my advice. Better?
Oh, better.
You're not you when your teeth aren't straight. Get started at White, Greer, and Maggard today.
3, 2. We're here before the Lafayette Bryan Station game. We're joined by Eric Shaw, the head man of the Generals. And Coach, I tell you what, Henry Clay, they just could not keep you out of the backfield. You got to be really pleased with the way your D-line's playing right now, being a defensive player yourself.
Very pleased. Played with a different type of intensity last week, and hopefully we can transfer that to the line.
Bryan Station, a young team, but as Oliver Lucas over there told me one time, he said the pups got to grow up sometime. They're young kids, but as you know, they're talented kids.
Very, very talented. A lot of speed, great athletes over there, and I expect them to come out and give it all they got.
They have a couple of quality wins. They beat a pretty good Madison Central team. They beat a good Wayne County team. So it's not like they haven't beaten some pretty good teams. Their losses to Simon Kenton, who's a pretty good team, as you know, and Cooper, a pretty good team. So they've played a tough schedule.
Oh, they have, and we're not prepared lightly for them. We expect them to come in and play hard. You know, on any given Friday, anybody can win a game.
But one thing you have, and it's like a lightsaber if you're a fan of Star Wars, number 9, Walker Wood. he just can improvise so well for you. I mean, it's either with his legs or his arm, and that's such a luxury having that kid running the team like that.
Oh yeah, he can extend plays. He can, give us time to get the ball out, or he can put us in checks and put us in great situations, depending on what the defense gives us. He's a very smart individual.
What do you, watching film of Bryan Station, getting ready for them tonight, what do you think of the keys for Lafayette tonight?
We just need to go play Lafayette football. Right. It's never about who we play, it's about how we do and what we do in managing the game. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time. Good luck tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's Eric Shaw, the final. Welcome back here as the captains make their way out on the field here. Lexington Bryan Station in the white tonight with the gold pants, and home team, it's homecoming here tonight at Lafayette. The home team, the Generals in the red with the dark navy pants and the white helmets. Bryan Station 3-3, and Lexington Lafayette 5-1. Their only loss to Trinity here, and that was at their home field. That's their only loss. They're still ranked number 6 in the state of Kentucky in 6A. Bryan Station's, you heard from Frank Parks. You heard us talk to him just a few minutes ago, the head coach of Bryan Station. Mike Thomas will be his center tonight, and Coach Thomas is a 310-pound junior center. Damian Ramirez is a sophomore at a guard, and then Mark Smith, 250-pound senior at the other guard. It'll be Miles Guard, 295-pound senior at a tackle spot. It'll be Shane Burks, a tackle, 300-pound senior on the left side. The wide receivers, there will be Shamar Rich. He's a junior. Also Desmond Bernard, and Coach, they love to throw the ball to the football to Bernard. He's got 25 catches coming in, nearly 300 yards, Coach. That is about 10 yards, over 10 yards a catch, and 3 touchdowns for Bernard.
Well, I'll tell you what, you look for your athlete. You try to get your athlete in space. He does a good job of yak running the ball after he catches the ball.
Micah Love is the sophomore receiver. Hayden Hunt, your other receiver. Quarterback will be Jalen Burbage, the sophomore quarterback, and the running back will be Chris Jones, a 170-pound junior. That's the lineup for Bryan Station. The captain's still talking out at midfield here at Ishmael Stadium. Lafayette will start tonight. Will Bischoff is your center, 255-pound senior. The guards are Alston Miller, 225 senior, and also Dejon Thomas, a 280-pound senior. Tackles are Alex Simpson, and also Jedrick Wills will start tonight. He did not play last week in the game we did last week, as that was a big win for Lafayette over Henry Clay. The wide receivers, Matthew Guilfoyle, he'll be thrown a lot to tonight, especially in third down situation. Quentin Brown, a wide receiver, along with Zach Sherman. The running back tonight will be Cameron Morgan. Also, we'll see Javarius Robinson. Quarterback Walker Wood, the senior, and Daquan Edwards is your other receiver. Those are the offenses. And, Coach, did you see the the toss?
Lafayette won the toss and deferred. Bryan Station will receive.
So we gave you Station's offense. Let's take a look at Lafayette's defense. And it's a good one. Tezrin McCoy's a defensive end, along with Dylan McKinney and Xavier Douglas up front. Desmond Simpson up there as well. And then in the secondary, you've got back there is Fishback, also Malik Price, Jordan Thomas, and also Cameron Morgan. We'll see Smith back there as well. Ian Shaw's a linebacker along with Brandon Lane. And, boy, I like this Lane kid, Coach, and he's outstanding for Eric Shaw.
We're looking forward to Lafayette's defense and see how, they're a pretty good defensive team, but I think Bryan Station is going to test them, especially downfield.
Chris Jones will drop back deep to receive the kick for Bryan Station. He is to the near side. And we're looking over to the far side for the defense. That looks like a Hunt over there. And Jones is to the near side. And kicking off will be Lafayette, as we're just about set for high school football. Averett has it teed up and ready to kick it off. And here's Averett into it. And the kick. And as the referee blows the play before they get to kick off, so we're going to have another kick.
Right, the referee that was the official that was right by the football blew the flag, or blew the whistle and threw the flag. Was offsides against Lafayette on the kick.
Hayden Hunt was going to take that kick in for Bryan Station. As we said, the defenders, out of Bryan Station High School. And, Coach, there's been a lot of talent. When you look at the E-Train, remember Eric Shelton went through Bryan Station, guys like that, Cornell Burbage, who you talked to before the game, J.T. Haskins, who played at Louisville. There's been some talent go through Bryan Station.
Well, how about Dermonti Dawson?
Well, he wasn't bad either.
No,
Had to be talked into playing football, though.
Right.
Here's the Averett kick. As we said, Hunt back deep. It's going to be to Hunt. He's going to come up, scoop at the 20. Hayden Hunt to 25-30. Hunt 35, and it's going to be pulled out of bounds over to 35. Nice return there by Hunt. We set the Bryan Station offense for you, and let's see which quarterback. They do use dual quarterbacks, but Jalen Burbage will more than likely get the start, and he is out there to engineer the offense, Coach Meehan.
Right, and he's a good one. It's sophomore, young, a very young team, by the way. I was talking to a couple of the coaches, actually, before the game, and they're really happy with this young group of kids.
Be triple receivers to the bottom. Single receiver Desmond Bernard out to the top for Burbage. Jones is to his left at the 35, good field position, and somebody jumped off. It looked like Lafayette might have jumped offside right off the bat, so that may be a break there for Station. But the official's saying that a Station, so right off the start of the game, Coach Meehan, we get a mistake by Bryan Station. I thought the Lafayette player jumped offside.
I guess the Bryan Station, the defender must have flinched a little bit. That had to draw him offsides.
So Jones is to the left. Now it's 1st and 15. He goes in motion. Burbage, a little quick screen, and it's caught by Bernard, and he gets maybe the original line of scrimmage back, and that's about it, but yards short. And it's going to be 2nd and long, and look like Xavier Douglas and company. So the first pass is complete. They just go with a quick pass to Desmond Bernard, and he gets 3 of those penalty yards back anyway, Coach, 2nd and 12.
Yeah, it looked like a little tunnel screen. It just didn't work.
Burbage, a little screen out to Jones. And he's trying to get to the corner and run out at the 37-yard line. Would it be 3rd down and 8? Ian Shaw hustling over there to run him out of bounds. And also Quantez Cooper, 25, helped out.
Yeah, they pinned him against the sideline. That's a pretty good job, though. What they're doing is they're running a little flare pass. They're trying to test Lafayette's speed on the corners and trying to get outside them real quickly. Not a bad job to kind of figure out what kind of defense you're looking at.
But this is where that 5-yard penalty kills you. It would have been 3rd and 4, and it's 3rd and 9.
Right, so big difference, Gary.
3rd and long now. Burbage looking over toward the sideline. Has Jones to his left. Burbage back to pass, rolling to the right. Burbage got a receiver deep downfield. Does he seem? He throws it. It's caught at the 40. Down inside the 40-yard line to the 35. What a great catch and run there. Super catch by Hunt. What a good throw there by Burbage.
That was a good job by everybody. The offensive line pinned people to the inside, allowed the right-handed quarterback to get to the outside. I like to look at the way quarterbacks run and throw at the same time besides their drop-back action. Nice job. He got his shoulders around, threw a nice pass, waved the receiver downfield a little bit to open up the defense. Really good job by Jalen Burbage.
Coach, it was 3rd and 9, and they picked up 20 down to the 35. First down for the defenders on a good pass by Burbage. Great catch by Hayden Hunt. And the yak, the yards after the catch, motion to the near side by Hunt. Jones going to pass it out there to him on a flare. And Hunt down to the 30, and actually they mark him out at about the 32-yard line. A couple of generals got over there in the secondary, and Fishback, also Jordan Thomas, the bandit, got over there as well. Pickup of about 3 there for Hunt, and it's 2nd down, and let's call it 7.
That was a good job of defense. Jordan Thomas did an excellent job of pinning him out there, too.
Love goes in motion. Burbage, a little flare out there. He's got Jones. Jones cuts it back inside. Jones turns on the Jets, and he's tackled on a shoestring tackle to save the touchdown inside the 20-yard line.
Right, and that's what I was talking about. They're running that little flare pass. They're trying to get those big defensive linemen pinned inside and trying to make somebody miss outside. I love that idea. That's a super idea to start out the football game in order to test Lafayette's edge players to see if we can get them outside, pin everybody else inside.
Pickup of about 14 actually marked the ball at the 19. And you know what? It was Thomas there, the bandit. If he didn't make that ankle tackle, Brendan Lane got over there as well. But that's a touchdown there probably for Jones. He really was about ready to turn on the Jets, Coach.
I like the way they do that. They're running a good offense.
Motion, Burbage fakes. Now here comes the pressure. Sets up a screen over the middle. He's got his man to the 10. That's Jones, a 5. He's trying to get in, does he? And and dives in. Touchdown.
Nice job. Little middle screen action. They hit the outside. They hit the outside again. They ran a flare pass on the outside. They ran a tunnel screen on the outside, and bam, throw the inside middle screen.
That was a great job by Jones diving in over top of the defenders of Lafayette to get that in for the score. And they have not put the points on the board yet, but the side judge, he went for the touchdown. Is there a penalty marker down? So they got a flag down. It's going to be against Station. The touchdown counts, so it's 6-0. The operator here needs to put the points up on the board. There we go, 6 points up there for Station. They'll tack on that penalty after on the kick, right,
Right,
Coach?
they'll tack it on the kick, which is going to hurt Bryan Station.
So here comes the extra point coming here for Bryan Station. Owens normally does the kicking, and the kick is up, and it's good. So 7-0. Bryan Station strikes early here, 9:39 on a Jones touchdown catch of 19 yards from Burbage. That's Burbage's ninth touchdown pass of the season. We'll return on the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week. Station up 7-0. Good start for Station.
I love the middle screen. That was a smart play.
Man.
Good play call.
When you're not happy with your smile,
you
feel down. When you feel down, you stay in bed. When you stay in bed, you miss deadlines. When you miss deadlines, a lot of kids are upset. Don't upset a lot of kids. Love your smile. Call White, Greer, and Maggard today.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives.
Harrison Owens kicks off, a short kick. Lafayette bobbles it, goes back, picks it up at the 40. Coming up to the midfield stripe. Good return there by the Generals. And in particular, that returning that football was one of the up men. That's McCoy. Tisrin McCoy, the great defensive player.
Well, you know what, though? That penalty is going to hurt you. Now, look, you're giving a very good offensive football team the ball
at midfield.
Pretty close to midfield.
Yeah, well, they're marking it back, though. Bryan Station's walking back, Coach, so there must have been a penalty against Lafayette, and it was a big one because they're walking it all the way back to the 31-yard line.
Yeah, a little holding penalty. They got a little hold on that.
We'll check the defense for Station after this play. We set the offense for Lafayette already. Coach, we're just underway, 9:32, and Bryan Station's already scored on their opening drive. They lead 7-0 as Chris Jones hauled in a Burbage touchdown pass.
I love the way we're looking at this chess game that these teams are playing. Now, look at Lafayette here. They're running tight end on this side, trips on the other side. Station's in that cover 2 look.
Somebody lined up penalty marker down. The same thing we had on the opening drive for Station. They were backed up 5 yards. It was 3rd and 9, and Coach, what a great call by Bryan Station sideline to Jones on that little screen. He picked up about 20 yards all the way down to the 35, and then took it in from the 19 on another pass. So on that series, Jalen Burbage was 5 for 5 passing, 57 yards, and, of course, the touchdown pass to Chris Jones.
Right, excellent job again. Excellent job of play calling and execution. But look at Lafayette shooting themselves in the foot here. They would have had the ball on the 50-yard line. They've had 2 penalties already before they've run a play.
And they changed their formation. They got twins to the bottom. They give now to Morgan. He's got some running room. Morgan 40. Morgan 45. Cameron the far side being chased to the 40. And he's going to be run out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Cameron Morgan with the great run. And it was Jones who came up to knock him out of bounds. But what a great run. Coach, that is going to be about a 44-yard run there by Lafayette's Cameron Morgan.
That made a big difference. And, again, that's an offensive line block. And that was a hole, Gary. William Warfield, as quick as he is, he'd probably make it through that hole pretty easily.
Well, he's the king of streams, so you know would have been through that hole in a hurry. First down at the 30. Here's Walker Wood passing, and he's got his man Brown and QB down to the 16-yard line. Yep. Pickup of about 14 yards to Quentin Brown from Walker Wood. So Lafayette, Chris Jones, boy, I tell you, he caught the touchdown pass. He made a saving tackle on Morgan, and he made the tackle there on the catch by Brown. So Jones doing everything for Station.
And Quentin Brown runs a good route. Now, one of the things I like to look for at high school kids, not just how the quarterback releases the ball, but how these guys run these routes. Brown Station lining up that cover 2, and they're running that middle route, that little dump route right between those two safeties. I got another penalty here, Gary.
That is the third penalty already against Lafayette. And Walker Wood completes it. He completes it to Quentin Brown, the backup quarterback, but then the penalty moves it all the way back to the 31-yard line. They would have been down at about the 16, so it was a 15-yard penalty.
That is just awful.
Lafayette shooting himself in the foot right now. Morgan hit as he gets the ball. Now he's going to stammer down to the 20. Morgan down to the 15. Stiff arms Jones, and Jones runs him out at the 14. Coach, the defender was on top of the handoff from Walker Wood and Cameron Morgan, and Morgan just pulled the ball away from Wood and took off and picked up big yardage.
He said, I'm going to take this one. This is my opportunity. I'm going to jump on it. Again, this is a good field position. Their first down, excellent field position for a good offensive football team. Brown Station's defensive line and their interior, their front seven need to really, really buckle up here and do some damage.
Let's see what Lafayette and Walker Wood have for us here. Cameron Morgan in the backfield. Morgan stutter steps, dances left side, cuts it out, and run out of bounds over there. And nice play turned in over there by Trigg. Let's look at the defenders up front. You got Quentin Floyd, defensive end, and the Eastern, Trajan Scott. You also got Moore up there and Bell. Linebackers are Emmanuel Sharp, Crowley, Romel Crowley, and also you got Jewett back there. Second down in the secondary, you got William Mitchell, Overton. You got Chris Jones and Trigg who made that last play. Second down and 8. Walker Wood's going to tuck it. Wood to the 10, dancing. Wood gets a block, and he's going to take it in for the score. Touchdown, Walker Wood.
That's a really nice job. I almost said something there. You were going over to defense. The last play, that was a zone read where he gave the ball, didn't make any yardage. Well, Walker Wood looked over to the sideline and looked like he touched his shoulder like saying, you know what, let me read this one.
Yeah.
Looked like he read it himself, pulled the ball, hit the corner. There was nobody there. Nice job.
That's a 7th touchdown rushing for Wood, Coach, this season, Walker Wood.
Yeah, they already have 75 yards rushing.
So Avert with the extra point here can tie it up with 8:50 to go here in this first quarter, as Lafayette's Walker Wood has just tied it up on a 12-yard touchdown run over the left side, and he had an entourage out there in front of him. Avert's kick is up, and we are tied. 8:50 in the first period. It is Lexington Bryan Station 7, Lexington Lafayette 7 here on the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week.
All S, all P, all O, R-T, S Sports. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not happy with my teeth. They're not straight enough.
Let me fix them for you.
No. You are not White Greer and Maggard.
I'm sort of like White Greer and Maggard. I'm local, love smiles, love to fix things.
No.
Sorta you isn't you. White, Greer, and Maggard.
Bryan Station covers that Sutton Avert kick at the 40-yard line, and that's where the defenders will have it. Their first series, Jalen Burbage took them all the way down, 5 for 5 passing, 57 yards passing. Then he hit Jones with a 19-yard touchdown, and that was 7-0. But, boy, I tell you, what a good answer. Even though all the penalties, they were penalized, talking about Lafayette, Coach, they were penalized 4 times for 35 yards. But, yet, with all that, they still marched it down, and Walker Wood took in a 12-yard TD run to tie it up.
Well, yeah, Lafayette's averaging 17 yards a play now on their offensive side of the ball.
Burbage looking, little toss out there. Jones has got the catch in the flats. He's to the 45 midfield. Jones the far side, turns it on, and finally run out of bounds. Let's see where they mark Jones out of on the far side. He was run out of bounds by a couple of Lafayette Generals waiting for the official. Why, my goodness, he got that to the 30. 1 yard line. We're actually going to mark it way up at, they said he went out at the 37. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, and there's a timeout by Lafayette, and I'll tell you why. They are not happy with the way they played that defense.
Yeah,
that was another flare screen is all it was.
Yep.
And the 2 big linemen got downfield on the play, and the wide receiver was locked up on the defensive back. He couldn't get away from the block. Bam, there's another 30 yards.
And actually, I had the glasses on it. I'm not so sure he stepped out of bounds at the 37. I actually thought he went out down inside the 35, so I'm not sure about the mark, but that's where they'll mark it at the 37. With that mark, Coach, we're going to look at this play again and see exactly as we look at the replay on the PrepSpin. There's a great Pat Jones with a nice catch there, kind of stumbled a little bit, and as he's running down the far side, he's already to the, like I said, he looked like he was inside the 35 to me, 34. Yeah. 33, that's what I said on the call, but they marked it at the 37.
That's a good job of blocking downfield by the receivers and the running back. I thought it was a lineman, but it was a big running back.
Coach, look at Burbage, 6 for 6, 80 yards already. We still have 8:40 to go in the first quarter.
I know, and Walker Wood, he's 1 for 1, 14 yards, but they're running the ball like crazy.
Station has motion by Hunt to the far side away from us up here in the press box. Jones, quick pass out there in the flat, caught. And I tell you what, Bernard's not going to go anywhere there. That's a great play over there, turned in by who else? Brendan Lane.
Yeah, Brendan Lane locked in on that one. He said, you're going back to the same screen pass too many times. They tried another screen out there, the little quick screen that time, and he locked that one down good. That was a really good defensive play, Gary. You called that.
So 2nd down and 13. Well, you said the timeout by Lafayette. They weren't happy with their defense. Well, they looked much better on that. Motion by Hunt to the near side. Burbage fires it out there to Hunt. He's hit hard and dropped it to 35 on a good play turned in. And that's a nice defensive play turned in by Smith. They're saying McCoy did it as well, but
28.
Yeah, that's Smith, and he looked like he might have got shaken up a little bit.
Yeah.
He had to the sideline pointing to the trainer in his left shoulder.
Yeah, he kind of dinged it. He came in there hard. He fought off the block and came in hard and low with that left shoulder. May have sprained it a little bit.
Gary Ball, Mike Meehan, and William Warfield tonight here on PrepSpin, White Greer Maggard Game of the Week. Big 3rd down and long here for Station, and we're going to have a timeout, I believe.
No, it's an illegal procedure, motion penalty against Station.
Goodness, another penalty. Yeah. We've had a bunch of them already. That is our 7th penalty in the first 4.5 minutes of this game.
And they're
7th penalty.
And most of these penalties have been jumping off sides, being in neutral zone, etc. Gary, they are spreading the field to the right with the trips. Now take a look at what they're doing defensively. You people watching the game, there's 2 safeties for Lafayette are cheating toward the trips side. And they're playing man-on-man over here. I think it might be just single coverage. I'm not sure. Playing bump and run close up on the receiver on this side. That allows that receiver to break down that sideline if he can get rid of that corner that's playing on him.
Jones shifts to the right of the quarterback Burbage. Trip receivers out to the top. Burbage rolls that way. He's going to tuck it. He's hit and slammed down by the big D lineman Desmond Simpson, 230-pound senior for Lafayette, and that's going to force a punt here, Coach, by Bryan Station. What did Lafayette do different defensively there to stop that Bryan Station offensive juggernaut, which at that point Burbage was 8 for 8 passing?
Well, for one thing, what they did was call a timeout and say, hey, guys, loosen up a little bit. Let's not allow them to throw the screens on the outside. You know you're going to get blocked when they run the screen. You got to work through the block and make the tackle, and we saw that happen twice.
Newcomb sent to receive the punt here coming from Bryan Station.
Nice punt.
Good spiraling punt, Newcomb, and goes back and hit hard at the 5-yard line. What a big-time hit put on by Bryan Station's William Mitchell. My goodness, Mitchell lowered the boom.
Mitchell was right on it. And I'll tell you what, not calling a fair catch there probably would have been better off letting that ball go. It probably would have rolled in the end zone, come out in the 20. Now they're really backed up here.
What a great play by Mitchell. As we take a look at that again on our replay. And, man, what a big-time boom. That's called lowering the boom, isn't it, William? Lowered the boom.
You would have thought that he would have said, okay, I'm going to let this one go. It's going to roll in the end zone. We'll get it on the 20. That was scary.
Walker Wood trots back out there, the UK commit. Will he play quarterback at Kentucky, Coach? I mean, you're kind of a quarterback guru.
Yeah, I think they're gonna start him at quarterback. They're gonna take a look at him at quarterback and see how he handles it.
He definitely has that it factor, doesn't he?
He has the it factor. He's a leader.
Robinson handoff. Javarius and spun around. Won't go down. Robinson taking it all the way up to the 20. Should have been tackled back inside the 10. Javarius just would refuse to go down. Ballhead, they call him. Javarius Ballhead Robinson, and he takes it up near the 20, and that's going to be about a 14-yard pickup.
Well, they've got to lock up on and hold on to him, make a good shot, put your shoulder in there, make a good tackle. Let your other defenders come in and clean it up. They're very quick on defense. They can come in and help on the play.
Of course, Cameron Morgan was in that first series, their running back coach. He had 3 carries for 63 yards for Lafayette on their opening series, and they got Robinson in there now. Walker Wood back to pass. Looking, throws it, fires it down the middle, and it's going to be a catch up near midfield. And I believe that's Big Guilfoyle. Yes, it is. Matthew Guilfoyle takes it into Bryan Station territory to the 48-yard line. And that's going to be a 32-yard strike from Walker Wood to Matthew Guilfoyle.
Guilfoyle looks like he can go out and get the ball, too. A little height on that thing. He jumped up and got it. I was surprised, though, because Lafayette had 2 receivers in the same area. That drew 3 defenders, but he made that great catch right over them.
Triple receivers to the bottom. Walker Wood fires back to Newcomb. Newcomb at the 40. Newcomb 35. Newcomb misses a man, makes him miss to the 20. Newcomb 15, finally ran out of bounds, loses his helmet. Here comes a flag on the tackle there by Jones.
Yeah, Jones grabbed his helmet. He grabbed he didn't grab his face mask, but he grabbed the opening to the helmet and pulled the helmet off. You can't do that. That's going to be half the distance penalty. Another nice play. That is a true tunnel screen, Gary. Mm-hmm. That's the one I was looking for, where the receiver comes in and starts upfield, and you take his big lineman and you lead him down the field, try to find that tunnel within those linemen. Really impressive play. Both of these teams have extremely good pass offenses.
Good job by Newcomb to nearly take that one to the house. Newcomb, that was a 35-yard reception, and now Walker Woods 3 for 3, 82 yards passing, Coach. And Lafayette's set to score again here. 1st and goal at the 6, 5.5 to go, 7-7 football game. Lafayette, Bryan Station, handoff,
nice
going
job.
at the middle. Good tackle there by who else? Big D lineman there. That's Scott, Trejuan Scott. Listen to this, Coach. Scott, he's a sophomore, 290 pounds, making that play.
290 pounds making a play, but who broke in and grabbed him and slowed him down? It looked like the nose guard beat the center and just came in and got a hand on the running back and slowed him down.
Of course, we don't use a spotter, do we, Coach?
No, and it's hard to see these numbers from where we are, too.
Way up here in the press box, Walker Wood. Goes left side to Shaw. Shaw cutting left side. Hit. Breaks a tackle. Going to take it in. Touchdown. Ian Shaw.
Yeah, Ian just used those hips that time. He reminded me of the way he ran that. Reminded me of Dominique Hayden that played for Lexington Christian. Had those big legs and hips. When you tackle him, you better lock onto those legs and pull him down. Shaw just broke those tackles with his body. That was a nice play.
Ian's got a nose for that end zone, doesn't he, Coach?
He really does. We've seen that before. I'm very impressed with him and the way he runs the football. That's why you bring that guy in periodically like that. He just does a great job.
Here's Sutton Averett in for the extra point out of the hold of Serafini. And this would put Lafayette up 14 unanswered after Bryan Station, Coach, took a early 7-0 lead with 4:52 in the first. Lafayette has answered with 14 unanswered.
And
13 after this extra point.
Right, and they've overcome penalties to do it.
Now is going to be 14. So 14-7, Lafayette, the number 6 team in 6A football, leads Bryan Station 14-7 here, 4:52 in the first. This is the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week.
Where a beautiful smile is just the beginning.
I am Lee.
Sutton Averett set to kick. Hunt and Jones back deep. Here's another short kick. Did that go 10 yards? Yes, it did. Barely, and Lafayette recovered it. Yeah, that went 10 yards as it got beyond midfield.
Yeah, that's just a matter of Bryan Station not collapsing on the ball to get the football. Hey, Gary, real quickly, a little shout-out. In Tampa, Florida, my son Ben and Lily, his wife, and maybe even Kai, the little baby, are watching the football game on PrepSpin.
Yep.
And also a quick shout-out in another one in Florida to Steve Burbage. I have coached I've seen him been involved with 5 different Burbages. Randall in the 70s, Steve in the 80s.
Yes, sir.
Philip in the 80s, Cornell in the 90s, and now we're looking at this Jalen out here.
And
so hello to Steve and his wife Vivian.
And a special shout out to, as you said, Ben Meehan, Sergeant Anthony Steinman over in Iraq's watching. Of course, his son Brendan Lane play tonight. Here's Walker Wood pump faking, fires it downfield, intercepted by Bryan Station. And that's Jones back there, the 40. Jones cuts it far side, slammed down hard at the 42 by Walker Wood. What a big-time hit by the quarterback, Walker Wood. Maybe he'll play safety at Kentucky.
Hey, I was watching him that time. He threw the interception, and immediately when he threw it, he knew he shouldn't have let go of the ball. So he just went wild. He just went straight for him like a rocket to make that tackle. Nice job intercepting the ball, stepping in front of it. Bryan Station overcomes a big bullet there on the onside kick.
Yeah, great interception by Jones, who has the touchdown. And then Walker Wood coming and slamming him down at the 41-yard line. Well, first off, he was mad that he threw an interception. And secondly, he just plastered Jones on the hit. Walker Wood, maybe he'll be the linebacker Kentucky's been looking for. Here's back to pass, firing downfield, receiver down there, and he catches it to the 20-15. 5 trying to get into the end zone. Touchdown! What an effort by Bryan Station.
Who is that?
We're trying to get a number 4, and that's going to be a young man who hasn't played a whole lot, but that's Shamar Rich, the junior, and he drug him into the end zone.
Yes, junior wide receiver, 6'2" guy who just pulled and dragged the defender from Lafayette about 5 yards into the end zone. What a throw, though, by Burbage. Just a super
Burbage
throw.
is 9 for 9, 136 yards. That's his second touchdown pass.
Yeah, that's really on right there. I'll tell you what, this is going to be one of those exciting games.
Here's the Owens extra point, and it's up, and it's no good.
Yeah.
So he misses the extra point, and Lafayette still leads 4:30 in the first. It's 14 Lafayette, 13 Bryan Station. We'll be back on the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week. Bryan Station with a long strike, and as we said, that was a young man who hasn't really played a whole lot. Rich, that was a 58-yard catch. He caught it with his fingertips and drug defenders into the end zone, Coach Meehan, but they missed the extra point. If you're a Bryan Station fan, it's 14-13, Lafayette still leading.
Yeah, that extra point missed, it could come back to haunt you.
Here's the short kick after Lafayette got the onside kick. Bobbling around back there is Newcomb. Newcomb comes to the near side, and here comes a flag down as Newcomb's tackled back at the 15. Flag comes down, but Bryan Station's Chris Jones picked it off. And for you folks, you'll definitely want to go watch this game again on PrepSpin and see that hit. That's one of the best hits we've seen all year by Walker Wood after he threw the pick.
Walker Wood is doing a super job on all sides of the ball now. What's concerning me, these penalties. Look like maybe a holding penalty against Lafayette here.
Coach, 8 penalties, and we still got 4:23 to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, this is not good at all. Yeah, we got a holding. That's what
ridiculous.
I thought. We had a little holding here on the return. Another thing, when these guys bobble these returns,
yes, sir,
they always seem to be these high school guys. They want to try to, I got to sweep wide.
Right.
You got 11 guys running at you. You don't sweep wide. If you sweep wide, you got at least 5 going to try to tackle you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go straight ahead, maybe 2.
Coach, by the way, back to that pick by Walker that Jones picked off. These quarterbacks were 12 for 12 prior to that pick.
Awesome. I mean, I'll tell you what.
Wood tucks it. He's out to the 10. Wood at 15, 20, turning on the Jets, looking for a block. He's at the 40. Walker Wood midfield. He gets a block on Jones, 30. Walker Wood to 20, and Jones catches him from behind at the 10-yard line.
Excellent effort by Jones. I'm going to tell you what. Now we got another penalty against Lafayette.
I think because it's going to be unsportsmanlike. Walker Wood, after Jones chased him down, threw the ball up in the air, and I think that's going to cost him 15 yards, to be honest with you.
Well, a lot of times they call that delay of game, too.
Yep. 4:10 to go, 14-13. Carry ball with Mike Meehan and William Warfield.
And Big Joe up on the roof.
Joe Allen, Joe Allen. We got to give Joe some love, but what's that? Yeah, he's out there in the cold. We got to tell everybody about him. 4:10 to go, but what a great run by Walker Wood. And can you tell he's a little bit upset with himself after that pick?
Well, he's excited. I tell you what, another reason he's excited, he's watching across the field at that green and gold quarterback throwing that football and doing a heck of a job.
Burbage 9 for 9, 136 yards and 2 touchdown passes. So timeout on the field, 4:10 to go in the first. It is Lexington Lafayette, one of the top teams in the state in 6A, been ranked in the top 10 all year. They're number 6 right now, behind Trinity, Mayo, St. X, and Simon Kenton are the other 4 teams everybody's talking about in 6A. It is 14-13 here. Bryan Station putting some points up. We'll return on the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week to Ishmael Stadium. Timeout on the field.
When you're not happy with your smile, you feel down. When you feel down, you stay in bed. When you stay in bed, you miss deadlines. When you miss deadlines, a lot of kids are upset. Don't upset a lot of kids. Love your smile. Call White, Greer, and Maggard today.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthodontics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
For 9, 136 and 2 touchdowns. Wood 3 for 5, 82 yards. Of course, Wood rushing has 2 carries for 94 yards, almost 100 yards here in the first period, and a touchdown run.
Yeah, Lafayette has 177 yards rushing right now. Bryan Station only 11 yards rushing.
But it's passing, though.
But they're throwing the ball over the field.
136 yards passing for Bryan Station. 4:07. Here's Walker Wood, fires left side, it's incomplete. Throws it behind the intended receiver, bounced it to him a little bit.
Yeah, that was all Wood. He never got, for some reason, he didn't get his feet set and didn't get anything on that ball at all. Threw it into the ground.
Brings up 3rd and 10 for the Generals.
This is a big down here, Gary. This is a big down for them.
Next Friday, check out the PrepSpin game of the week. The featured game will be Lexington Christian and Williamsburg at LCA. Here is Woods going to keep it and run out of bounds, well short of the first down to bring up 4th down. And obviously you're in 4-down territory here, Coach. Or if you try a field goal from here, it's going to be about a 40-yard attempt.
Yeah, and honestly, you don't want to give any advantage to the defenders offensively because they've really been hot tonight offensively. So I think they're definitely going to go for it. So maybe they'll have a long count here. But look at they have 4 wides on that side.
Out to the top for Walker Wood. He looks over at the sideline now. 3:29 to go, and I think we're going to get a timeout. Yes, timeout by Station. 3:29 in the first. Folks, we're still in the first quarter. First quarter action, and it is Lafayette 14, Bryan Station 13. And we want to thank Bob Roberts Insurance. They're over in Richmond, Kentucky. Bob Roberts Insurance. They insure over half the great state of Kentucky. Bob Roberts Insurance on Main Street. Also, check out the Scholastic Ball Report Sunday at 12:30 on the CW. Boyle County, as we give some love to the soccer team. Boyle County girls soccer team, 18-1, Coach, on the show Sunday at 12:30. And also scholar athletes from Harrison County.
Really, really a good show, Gary. I watched the one last with Madison Central on it and a few players. Excellent show.
Thank you, Coach. And it'll be Sunday highlights from all the games, and that'll be Sunday at 12:30 on the CW. My co-host, my former intern this Sunday, Brittany Leiden, is my co-host. Doug Flynn was out of town, so Brittany Leiden, my former intern from Lexington Catholic, is co-hosting this Sunday at 12:30, CW Lexington.
Look at these 4 wides here. They isolate
wides.
This backside receiver over here.
Walker Wood.
Watch for the quarterback draw.
Wood looking left, fires over there, and it's caught.
That's
down inside the 20, and he's got the first down. And Guilfoyle letting the official know he's got it. First down on the catch over there. And I'm trying to Cameron Morgan, I believe.
Morgan. I'm very surprised that Bryan Station couldn't stop that play. They had 4 wides. They were out there on every receiver, and all they had to do is come up and make the tackle, but they seemed to be a little hesitant on that.
This time you got to watch to the bottom, and that's Noah Phillips. He's out there by himself. You got twin receivers to the top. And handoff goes to Morgan, and he's finally going to be tackled at about the 10 on a short pickup of about 3. Clock continues to run here late in the first period. It's 14-13. Lafayette on top of Bryan Station here on the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week. Coach, I think we might be over at LCA next Friday, right? You and I?
We could do that. I mean, it hasn't been set in stone yet, but, yeah, why not? I know those people.
Williamsburg and Lexington Christian Academy next Friday night, 7:30 kick from the Eagles' Nest. Walker Wood fakes, pulls it out. He's at the 5. He's going to walk in. Touchdown, Walker Wood.
Yeah, again, his offensive lineman just pinned those linemen inside, and he bounces outside. Excellent runner as a quarterback, does a super job of finding the holes and getting the holes. Maybe hesitates a little bit. I'm watching the defenders' defensive line, and they're not doing too bad at stalemates, but they haven't seemed to have been able to get much penetration right now.
Wood, by the way, 4 carries, 104 yards in the first quarter, and 2 touchdowns for the UK commit. And a tackle that a lot of folks are going to be talking about.
Yeah.
That wasn't a tackle. That was a smash.
That was a hit. That was a missile launch.
Here's Sutton Aver with the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. Lafayette 21, Bryan Station 13, still 2:19. That's right, folks. Still 2 minutes and 19 seconds to go. First quarter action. It's going to be a long night. Settle in. You're going to see it high definition right here on PrepSpin.com. White Greer Maggard Game of the Week.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com. Locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not happy with my teeth. They're not straight enough.
Let me fix them for you.
No. You are not White Greer and Maggard.
I'm sort of like White Greer and Maggard. I'm local, love smiles, love to fix things.
No.
Sorta you isn't you. White Greer and Maggard, where a beautiful smile.
Lafayette's Sutton Aver not allowing any returns. Kicks so far been short. That one's going to be the near side 30, taken to the 35, and returned up to the 38-yard line by the defenders of Bryan Station. And that was returned by Jacob Kinney, number 12, one of the up men there for the defenders, up to the 38. It's a good field position for Bryan Station. Jalen Burbridge, the sophomore quarterback, has been spectacular. 9 for 9, 136 yards, 2 touchdown passes here late in the first quarter, but he trails 21-13.
Yeah, Jalen's done a great job. He reminds me of his, I guess it would be his uncle Steve that played back in the 70s, a really good quarterback. Or 80s, my fault.
Got twin receivers to both sides. Chris Jones is to his left in the backfield at the 38-yard line. And Burbridge Fakes to Jones, tucks it. He's got some room. 45. Burbage midfield down to the 45. Run out of bounds. Let's see where the official marks him at the 47. It should have been the 45. So the official not very kind on the mark there, but that's where they're going to mark it, and they'll bring it back a yard or two. Looked like he ran out at the 45 from up here in the press box. They mark it at the 47.
Right. That was a nice job. That was a plain, good old-fashioned read that time. He put that ball in the belly of the running back and pulled it at the last second to run that football.
First down for the defenders, 2:07. Here's Burbage. Fakes now. Burbage to the 40. Burbage cuts it, 35, 30, being chased to the 20 and run out of bounds and tackled out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
They're struggling. Lafayette is struggling to contain the option play. They ran the read play the play before, and that was just a plain old down-the-line option. The running back was the pitch man. Jalen turned upfield and ran the football, did a super job on that.
Basically, Coach, Bryan Station's taking a page from Lafayette's offense and Walker Wood.
They are.
Fake to Jones. Burbage tucks it, and he's hit by Shaw and company. And who else got over there but one of the down linemen, Dylan McKinney, the big 260-pound defensive tackle for Lafayette.
Burbage puts the ball in the belly of the back and pulls it out at the last second.
Yep.
That edge player has to honor that back.
Right.
He has to honor the zone run, and he runs the zone read inside him.
Second down. Gives to Jones, and Jones down to the 14. Keeps the legs going, and Jones down the official mark at about the 12. Where to be third down and about 4. Good effort by Jones with 1:19 here in the first quarter. That's right, folks. If you're just tuning in, you're going, they're still in the first quarter. We've had 34 points scored in the first 11 minutes of this game. 34 points.
And I am going to call, give credit where credit's due. And I'm giving credit to the offensive coordinators and the game planners. Both of these game plans perfectly fit the defense that they're running against.
But penalties have hurt both ball clubs. We've had 10 penalties called here in this first period.
That's what slowed the game down.
So let's see what Burbage does here on 3rd down and 4 with 48 seconds.
Lafayette called a
timeout by the Generals. Timeout by Generals. White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week, 21-13. Bryan Station marching. They're down 8. 48 seconds here in the first. We'll be back on PrepSpin.com.
Hi, I'm Lee, and I'm happy with my smile. And I'm other Lee, and I ain't happy with my smile. I went to White Greer and Maggard, and they fixed my smile for me. And I never smile, and that's why I'm having some alone time here at dinner. I love that I can go to White Greer and Maggard with all my questions. And I love that I don't have to brush my teeth at night. Don't be like this, me. Go to White Greer and Maggard for a picture-perfect smile.
Third down and 4. Burbage fakes, tucks it. Burbage still on his feet. And let's see where they mark him at. Looked like he may have the first down of the 8-yard line. Burbage to carry. Burbage prior to that run had a total of 44 yards rushing. He picked up, looks like he got the first down, Coach. Depends on the mark, but he's very close. Yeah, he got the first down. Shaw helped on the stop. So 1st and goal at about the 8. For Bryan Station here with 36 seconds in the first period, and Bryan Station with a 2-point conversion here. If they score, could tie this thing up.
Big Michael Thomas, the center for the defenders, is really doing a good job of opening things up here. He's found a little blocking angle.
Burbage tucks it. Burbage, and he doesn't get in. He walks in. Touchdown! Jalen Burbage. It's 21-19. 40 points here in the first period. We still got 17.5 seconds to go in the first.
Not a bad job by the offensive line that time. Again, not making great blocks, not really moving anybody,
right,
but they're screening them out of the way. And then running back, Burbage just squirts underneath him.
But you said it best. That center, Mike Thomas, is playing an unbelievable game right now for State. He's just opening big gaps up that middle.
Yeah, he actually just screening people out, too. I mean, he's a big man. It's hard to get around him.
Owens' extra point, and he made this one. The difference is the one he missed prior. That's a difference in this game, folks. 17.5 in the first. And Coach Mike Meehan, 21-20. Lafayette leads here in the first period. It's like a good old shootout here at Ishmael Stadium. I want to know if they got enough powder left over there.
I don't know. Both teams are just pulling out all the stops, doing everything they can. Lafayette's got 9 first downs, and Bryan Station has 7 first downs. Bryan Station has 7 rushes for 73 yards. Lafayette 11 rushes for 189 yards. But look at the passing yards. Bryan Station 136 yards passing. Lafayette 91 yards passing. Every stat is where it should be, except penalty.
I like your comment about the offensive coordinator at Station because, man, oh, man, is he doing a great job. At the beginning of the quarter, it was all passing. Burbage was 9 for 9. On that series, it was all Burbage, as you said, with the read, and then ran that touchdown in. Burbage already in the game, 5 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown, 136 yards passing. He's almost got 200 yards himself, the sophomore quarterback, in the first quarter.
Yeah, Lafayette's defensive group have got to get together and figure out how to put a stop to that zone read and not let him carry the football.
See what they do here on the kick now. Lafayette, we've seen one onside kick recovered by Lafayette, and that's going to bounce around. It's going to be picked up by Morgan. Morgan to the 25. Morgan gets a block. He's at the 35, 40, and Morgan up near midfield, and he'll be knocked down at the midfield stripe. I'm looking back to see if there was a block in the back, but no flag back there at the 20-yard line.
No flag at the 20-yard line. A really good job of coming back and making that tackle. I didn't get the number, but I think it was Bryan Station number 6 that came back.
That's Jones.
And helped make the tackle.
Chris Jones. Yeah, he's fast.
Chris Jones.
He's already tracked down in this game, Chris Jones. He's already saved 2 touchdowns. Remember, early in the game, he saved a touchdown over on the far side of the field.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right, now I know Lafayette's going to try to open this game up, throwing the football a little bit more. The defensive back coach for the defenders is Cisco Bryant, a gentleman that I know quite well. He's a good friend. This guy knows how to coach defensive backs. He just needs to get an opportunity to get his hands on these guys and straighten out a few little problems that he's seeing.
Walker Wood with twin receivers both sides. He's going to shovel it, and it's going to be recovered by Bryan Station at the 43-yard line.
No, it's incomplete. It hit the ground.
Looked like a Bryan Station player. Let's see, Bryan Station thinks they have the ball. Let's see what the official, are they going to rule that incomplete? Yeah. I think you're right, Coach Meehan.
Yes,
it was recovered by 45 Bell, but they say it was an incomplete pass. Yeah. Almost a great turnover there for Station.
Right, it was a little forward pitch. If the defender would have caught the ball, it would have been an interception because it was forward. But since it was forward and hit the ground, it's not a fumble.
Right.
It's a pass. It's an incomplete pass.
So brings up 2nd down, 4.7 here in the first period.
Different defensive look by the defenders.
Walker Wood tucks it, cuts to the near side. Walker Wood and tackled. That'll end the first period as he's tackled at the 45-yard line. And looked like Emmanuel Sharp, the Sam linebacker, leading tackle, and the team made the stop. So we come back to second quarter action, folks. No, this is not halftime, folks. This is first quarter action we just completed. It's Lexington Lafayette 21, Lexington Bryan Station 20. We'll be back with second quarter action here on the White Greer Maggard. I want to thank Crown Trophy and Ryan Tyson, all the folks over at Crown Trophy. We'll be back after this timeout.
Hi, this is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards. They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of their 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all stores.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter. Locally owned and operated since 1972.
Third and 4. Here is Wood giving now to Morgan, and he breaks a tackle and then pulled out, but he's got the first down to the 38-yard line. Good job there by Cameron Morgan. Got the first down to start the second quarter. Got out of bounds also, and it was Overton making the stop there, Coach. 21-20 here in the second period. Gary Ball with Coach Mike Meehan and William Warfield. Let's give a shout-out to our friend the Guru, of course, of Bluegrass Preps. Also, and all those folks at Bluegrass Preps, that was started up there in northern Kentucky. I remember when that started, and of course, northern Kentucky loves their high school football up there with the powerhouses they've got up there. But man, Highlands this year 1-5, and that whistle, that play is going to be wide open, and it would have been a touchdown. But they blew it dead. Guilfoyle hauled it in, but they blew it dead before Walker Wood threw the ball. But
little movement before the ball was snapped, buddy. You can't do it. Little false start.
Of course, this year Simon Kenton is undefeated, ranked, I think, 3rd or 4th in the state, and 6A from Independence, Kentucky. You've got Beechwood ranked in the top 5 in single A up there in northern Kentucky. Cooper's got a good football team. We saw Ryle, Coach. They've got a good football team, the Ryle Raiders. They're undefeated right now. Still some good football up there, even though Highlands is 1-5. But Covenant Catholic, we saw them, Coach. You and I did them against Lex Catholic a few weeks ago. They got a nice team, led by that fine quarterback A.J. Mayer up there.
We won't talk about Boone County.
No, let's don't talk about my Rebels. Here's Wood, fires out to the near side, caught by Brown. QB, Brown spins, 42, knocked down right there on that 1st and 15. Nice play turned in by Mitchell back there.
I think Lafayette got away with a block in the back there that the official didn't see. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It wasn't part of the tackle at all. So the penalty hurt him again. Now now it's
2nd and 13.
Yeah, that's a big time challenge for them against a very quick football team.
They have to get to the station 29. 11 minutes 18 in the first half. 21-20. Lafayette leading Bryan Station here. Here's the handoff, and that's going to be Morgan spinning. 37 knocked down right there, and that's Mitchell again.
Mitchell, nice job by Mitchell. He didn't fall for any of that. The little spin move didn't do any good at all. They're bringing Lafayette. What Lafayette's doing is they're running a running back in a shotgun look and a pistol look, but they also have a running back there just off the tackle's rear, and he's coming around to try to meet a cleanup blocker, a lead blocker. Not a bad idea, but just too quick from Bryan Station to come up and make it.
In this formation, usually Walker Wood keeps the ball. When he's got 4 receivers out, usually Walker Wood tucks it. Let's see if that's the case. Walker Wood back to pass. Looking, he tucks it, and he's going to flip it out there. Caught by Guilfoyle, 30, 25. Guilfoyle, and down inside the 20, and that's going to be plenty for the first down. Matthew Guilfoyle. And Guilfoyle,
nice.
So far tonight, Guilfoyle, that is going to be his second catch. He had one for 33 prior to that.
We like him a lot. We've seen the Guilfoyle before. He just seems like get open all the time. I like what I'm seeing from Walker Wood. I'm seeing that next step up for a quarterback that's going to play at the next level. He was scrambling, like you said. He likes to tuck it and running, but he keeps his eyes downfield, Gary. Yeah. He looks downfield. He finds the receiver. He doesn't just run the football.
Guilfoyle, Coach, 2 catches, 52 yards now for Matthew Guilfoyle. Wood gives to Morgan. It is knee touch, and it doesn't matter. He's going to be pulled down anyway on a good play. Turned in by, let's see, that's Floyd, the Eastern Kentucky University commit, number 10 there. Yeah. Quentin Floyd, who's going to play defense at Eastern next year.
Yeah, he's
making a nice
load.
play. Yes, he's a load. Coach, you're exactly right. He's 6'3", 245, and runs a 4.6 40.
I also saw some good sportsmanship by
helping him
right
up.
there. Yeah, helping him up. I like to see that in high school football.
9.5 minutes to go in the first half, and if you're just tuning in, this is the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week on PrepSpin. Gary Ball, Mike Meehan, William Warfield, and Joe Allen, and it's 21-20 Lafayette. Rolling to left, and Wood fires, and it's caught at the 15, and down sharp to the 5-yard line. Zach Sherman. Zach Sherman to catch.
Yeah, Sherman ran a nice route, too, a little out route that time. But that was all Walker Wood. He put that ball in the only place that receiver could catch the football where the defender couldn't get to it. Excellent throw.
First catch of the night for Sherman.
You talked about whether or not he'll play quarterback at the next level at Kentucky. A lot of it depends on his arm strength and how strong he gets over the summers and in the future. A quarterback in the college has to make that long throw from one hash to out to the other hash on the out pattern.
Robinson back there. Wood fires left, and the receiver dives incomplete. Thought he was knocked down, but no penalty marker.
No,
Quentin Brown,
they both went down.
intended receiver. Yeah, Brown was out of bounds. I don't think even if he caught it, I don't think he'd have been in bounds.
No, I don't think so either. I think it was just a. I think Walker Wood tried to put that ball right on the sideline where he could catch it and keep his feet in, but tough throw, tough catch.
I'm looking how great this picture looks on PrepSpin. I'm looking. I got the monitor right next to me to my right, and that picture is awesome, courtesy of William Warfield and Joe Allen up there working that camera. 8:47. Wood's going to tuck it. Wood cuts it back to the left. Wood, and he's going to walk in. Touchdown. Is there any player in the state that can find that end zone with maneuverability and zigzagging like Walker Wood, Coach?
Yeah, it's like he's got a complete picture of how the blocks are going to form, where the opening's going to be, and he's just dancing around, getting out there. He's already, Walker Wood,
Six carries.
6 carries for 115
If that's
yards.
refreshed, yeah, it is, because he's got 3 touchdowns rushing. That is refreshed.
115 yards, 3 touchdowns already. We talked about how good of a quarterback
and he's
he
thrown for 127 yards.
Yes.
So he'll have 300 yards at halftime.
But with those stats, you would think that you would be 3 touchdowns ahead, but you're not.
You're ahead 27-20, and you need the extra point here to go up 8. 8:41 in the first half. Here's Sutton Averett with the extra point. The kick is up, and Averett nails it. 28-20, Lafayette leading Bryan Station. 8:41 to go here. This is the White Greer Maggard. Thanks to Crown Trophy and Ryan Tyson, all the great staff at Crown Trophy. They're right behind Starbucks off Nicholasville Road, Wilhite Drive. Crown Trophy, we appreciate them. And Bob Roberts Insurance over in Richmond. Joe, John, Bob Roberts Insurance in Richmond, Kentucky. 8:41 in the first. It is Lexington Lafayette 28 and Lexington Bryan Station 20 here on the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week.
I'm not loving my smile. I should have got braces when I was a kid. I want my teeth to be straight.
Dude, go to White Greer and Maggard. So, I see you took my advice. Better?
Oh, better.
You're not you when your teeth aren't straight. Get started at White, Greer, and Maggard today.
Short went to the near side and covered up at the 35 there by the up man there for Bryan Station, and that's Micah Love, the sophomore. Micah Love there with the recovery.
Yeah, did a nice
job. He pounced on it to 35. So, Bryan Station's had good field position here tonight, Coach Meehan.
Yeah, they've had almost every single time, other than one onside kick. They've had.
Bryan Station takes over.
Yeah, they've had good field position. Again, though, and they're moving the ball quite well. They've got a perfect choice of plays and so on. And we'll see if Lafayette adjusts any now to what they've been doing.
Shout out to my good buddy Jayhawk. He's watching the game up in Illinois tonight with his brother. Jayhawk, my man, the fastest man in arena football, and Tate's Creek off this week. Quick pass far side, caught. Bryan Station, and Burbridge now 10 for 10, but that's not going to be very much yardage at all as the receiver's driven backwards. Catch made over there by Micah Love, and he's driven backwards, so no gain. He's going to lose some yardage on that, about 5. But looking at Burbridge now, Coach, 10 for 10 now.
Yeah, again, they're throwing those little short passes. That was just a little hitch.
Yeah, that
screen,
was spelled out.
And it was spelled out. You're right. They're playing up on those receivers now. What they've got to do, what Bryan Station might think about doing, is running that trips, maybe not in this situation, but running that trips, isolating that backside receiver. He's got height. He's got a height advantage on the defender down there.
Right, exactly. And Bryan Station, of course, they use Chris Jones effectively in that opening series, Coach, but they really haven't gone to him a whole lot here lately.
Right. They need to look. Quarterback's eyes need to go to the wide side, throw back to the short side.
Trip receivers, Jones to the left, Burbridge back to pass. Burbridge being chased, and Burbridge going to be pulled down back at the 25-yard line by big number 99. That's Tyrone Williams, the 250-pound junior defensive end. I mean, Lafayette just has so many good defensive players on that line, Coach.
And I was afraid that this was going to happen, Gary. What's going to happen is the offensive line.
You were
from Bryan
perplexed
Station,
and concerned about it,
I was concerned about the offensive line against these big, quick defenders. So far in the game, they've done pretty well, but that time they just opened the door.
Last week, Bill Ransdale and I did the Henry Clay game, and they could not keep the Lafayette D-line off the Henry Clay quarterbacks last week. The Henry Clay O-line had all kinds of trouble doing that.
Well, that's why, you've got to have a running game. You've got to be able to move the football in another way.
3rd and 20.
They're just going with their front four, and that's it.
6:56 to go, first half. Time out on the field. 28-20. Lafayette on top of Bryan Station. To give us an opportunity to tell you about next Friday night. It'll be Lexington Christian. You look at Lexington football right now. Lafayette's one of the top-ranked teams in 6A. They got to the championship game last year, lost to Louisville Mayo. And Lexington Christian Academy, William Warfield and I were talking about that down on the field tonight before the game. They can probably score on just about anybody with that offense. You got 2 great quarterbacks. You got Dylan Wheatley, one of the best running backs in the state. You got great wide receivers. And Lexington Christian's defense is stepping up this year. But, Coach, it's a little different animal, though, when you got a Lexington Christian Academy, a 2A team, playing, say, if they played a 6A team like Lafayette.
Well, the depth would hurt you really bad.
Right.
You could come out in the game and you could compete early. But, then that depth just catches up on you. You're playing both ways, and these teams are playing one way, and it makes a big difference. But you got to have a lot of pride for those guys. I mean, they just work so hard, too. And Lexington Christian was really good as a 1A football team when I helped coach over there with Paul Raines.
Yes, sir.
But now they're in 2A, and that's a tough road, too. They've got a couple tough teams they're going to have to beat in the playoffs.
Burbage with Jones to his left, 3rd and 20 after the timeout for Bryan Station. Burbage might be getting something from the sideline, might be changing the play and movement, and that's going to be against Station. So that will be Bryan Station's 5th penalty. Lafayette has 7 penalties, so that's 12 penalties here. But remember, 10 of those were in the first quarter, Coach. 6:55 here in the first half. Kentucky and Alabama tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on the ESPN, I believe. Louisville plays Clemson on ABC at 8 o'clock. So, Coach, that'll be a tremendous night of football. I just hope Kentucky goes down there and shows himself well in Tuscaloosa.
Well, I finally figured out how to do picture-in-picture in my TV, so I'm splitting my screen and watching both of those Kentucky teams play.
I need to have William Warfield over to my house and let me figure all that technology out, He could figure it out.
Yeah, I just figured those buttons out. It took me a while, but I finally figured it out.
3rd down. And now it's 25. What's in your 3rd and 25 playbook? We'll find out. Burbage. Screen. And it's intercepted. Picked off at the 20 by Lafayette. Returned down to the 7-yard line. Intercepted. Ball comes out of there late, but they're going to say he was down. Ian Shaw picked it off. And Shaw with the interception.
That's the coach's son, correct?
Yes, Ian Shaw. Saw Enrique Shaw down on the as Lafayette came out. Enrique played at Michigan State.
He looks good.
And, boy, what a nice play. Shaw jumped up at the 23, came up with it, being chased by Jones, and took a hard hit at about the 7, but ball came out of there late. But pick off by Ian Shaw, and that's his 2nd interception of the season. And now Lafayette could get some distance between them and Bryan Station here if they punch one in here, 1st and goal to 7, Coach Meehan.
Yeah, that was a big mistake by Jalen Burbage, and that was a sophomore mistake. He was kind of in trouble, rolling to his right, threw off his back foot. Again, later on next year, he'll learn to put that ball in the dirt.
His first incompletion comes to the other team.
Yeah.
Pickoff, interception.
Yeah,
almost a pick 6.
That was a mistake.
Walker Wood gives to Javarius Robinson, and he's going to be tackled. Good play by Station. And looked like getting in there was Malik Trigg, the junior. Trigg in there making the play, number 2.
Pretty much didn't gain any yardage on that at all, so it's going to be 2nd down from the 5.
It is homecoming, so there'll be a long halftime. Coach Meehan's got a special guest if they make it up. Who are you supposed to talk to at halftime,
I'm
Coach?
talking to the Dean of Students at Lafayette High School.
And Jenny Williams, if she's got time from UK Sports Medicine, she'll join me at halftime. Robinson, and he gets down low, and see Javarius down to the – does he get in with it? Yes, touchdown. He was going to be stopped at the 2, but Robinson kept the legs going and somehow got in for the touchdown. Makes it 34-20, Lafayette.
Yeah, he fought his way in on that one. That was all him. That was a pretty amazing, pretty incredible play.
Javarius, ballhead Robinson. Man, Bryan Station's shaking their head like they're like, man, how did number 7 get in there with 3 guys had him for Bryan Station.
Where'd they come up with this ball head stuff?
Just a nickname.
Kind of like we could call William Tech Head.
Mm-hmm. High def. We got to come up with some. Well, King of Stream.
King of Stream. I love that. That's the best.
Right. Here's he. See, kick up. It's good. And it's 35-20. Lafayette up by 15 now, 6:05. We'll return here on the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week. Some distance now for Lafayette on homecoming. They lead 35-20.
When you're not happy with your smile, you feel down. When you feel down, you stay in bed. When you stay in bed, you miss deadlines. When you miss deadlines, a lot of kids are upset. Don't upset a lot of kids. Love your smile. Call White, Greer, and Maggard today.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthopedics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
We're back.
And Michael Lowe there, Doval and Anna Lowe, number 17. I think I might have called him Love earlier, but it is Lowe. L-O-W-E, not L-O-V-E. 6 minutes to go, first half, 35-20. And Coach Meehan, what has Lafayette done to take this their biggest lead of the game, 35-20 here?
They got an interception down close,
yeah,
and turned it into points.
Ian Shaw picked it off. Let's see if Burbage, who is 10 for 11, has the 1 pick, has 2 touchdown passes. Ball is dropped, and I'm not sure what was going on there.
I'll tell you exactly what was going on.
What was going on, Coach?
Bryan Station came out foot to foot with their offensive line. Lafayette was in a standing defense. It looked like a confusion defense where I don't think anybody was down, maybe one player. Standing up, got the offensive line a little confused, and Bryan Station snapped the ball to run the zone read. Jalen Burbage left the ball with the running back who didn't think he was going to get it. And the ball just fell right through his arms on the ground. Nobody covered it but Lafayette.
Gotcha. That's exactly what happened. Good call, Coach Meehan. You were on top of that one. So that's Lafayette's football, and they already lead 35-20. Remember, this was a 21-20 ball game, Coach, just a few minutes ago. You had the interception by Shaw, and now another turnover, which is what Coach Parks told us in the pregame. I said, what are the keys for you to get this win? He said, gotta cut down on turnovers. Can't have any turnovers.
Watch him throw for the end zone.
Wood, back, rolling to the right. Wood sets, throws, caught down to the 15-yard line, and down to the 10, knocked out of bounds over there. That's Quentin Brown. They mark him at about the 11.
Brown runs the best routes of just about any receiver I've seen in years, a high school receiver. Just a wonderful route runner, which makes a huge difference. When you have the skills to catch the ball in decent speed, and you can run the routes, and your quarterback knows where you are, knows what your route is and how crisp they are, and makes a big difference.
5 minutes, 37 seconds, first half. Lafayette threatening again here, up 35-20, breaking open a 21-20 football game. Walkerwood rolls out, throws into the corner, incomplete, trying to go in the corner of the end zone, and the intended receiver there for Lafayette, I believe that was Phillips.
Yeah, I think it was.
Noah Phillips, number 4.
If I can give a little advice to anybody out there, young receivers on these teams, maybe you're going to watch the replay. Work on 2 things besides just catching the football. Work on your routes. Make sure that you run the route that the coaches try to teach you crisp. And the other thing is work on getting off the line of scrimmage against man-to-man, because in college they're going to bump you and they're going to hit you on the line of scrimmage.
You mentioned the Chris Brown runs, and Walker Wood tucks it. Wood to the 10 and spun around, tackled at the 10-yard line. And coming up to get him was Emmanuel Sharp, the Sam linebacker, 200-pound junior. Sharp, the number 1 tackler on Bryan Station. 5 minutes and 10 seconds to go, and boy, if you're Bryan Station, you definitely want to try to keep Lafayette out of this end zone. Already up 2 scores, Coach.
You do, and this, it's a big one. If they can just even hold them to a field goal here, would be a good deal.
Cameron Morgan's in the backfield, and Quentin Brown, a long twins to the top. Wood firing over the middle, and touchdown over the middle, right into the slant by Brown. What a great route there, as you said, by number 8, Brown. Yeah. And that is going to be a touchdown from Walker Wood to Quentin Brown, the backup quarterback.
It's like it almost, I don't know, that's one of those routes where you just try to get your outside shoulder inside the defender real quickly, and you count on your quarterback to just grip and rip the ball. Get the ball in his hands and throw it. He's going to count on you getting inside. You're going to count on him to get that ball get rid of that ball quickly. They're just a really good team. They're a good football team throwing the football.
Yeah, they've shut out Bryan Station, Coach, here in the second quarter. Remember, it's 21-20 at the end of the first.
But it fumbles, honestly.
And
interception and fumble. Yeah. And these are young guys. And I talked to Coach Burbage before the game, and he said the same thing. God, they're young, but they're good. The young guys are good.
Yeah. Sutton Averett's extra point is good, and Lafayette now all of a sudden up 42-20 over Bryan Station, 4:45 here in the first half here on the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week here tonight, thanks to Crown Trophy and Roberts Insurance over in Richmond. Bob Roberts Insurance on Main Street in Richmond, Kentucky. We'll be back in 30 seconds with the score: Lafayette 42, Bryan Station 20.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S Sports. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not happy with my teeth. They're not straight enough.
Let me fix them for you.
No. You are not White Greer and Maggard.
I'm sort of like White Greer and Maggard. I'm local, love smiles, love to fix things.
No.
And we're back, and the kick is going to go to the far side. That'll be out of bounds. That'll bring it out to the 35 for Bryan Station. It was 21-20 at the end of the first, so 3 touchdowns here in the second quarter by Lafayette. Let's look at some particulars. Walker Wood, 7 carries, 117 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. Also 9 of 15, 156 yards, 1 touchdown passing to over the middle to Quentin Brown. Brown, leading receiver, 4 catches, 45 yards for Lafayette. Chris Jones, 3 catches, 45, but hasn't had a catch in a while, Coach, for Bryan Station. Burbage, 6 carries, 50 yards, 10 of 11 passing for Burbage for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, both of those in the first quarter for Bryan Station.
Yeah, when you have a young team like this and you fall behind.
Quick pass out to Jones. Jones slips and keeps his footing.
Nice
job by Jones, Coach. Take it up near the 40. Say his knee touched 39.
Right. Now, what I was going to say is, as a young team, I noticed that after Lafayette scored that last time, the defenders kind of went off the field with their heads down. A young team will do that. Senior leadership should pick that back up. These guys are a good football team. They scored those 20 points easily against Lafayette, and they need to get back to what they were doing.
Yep. Well, they did that on that play. A little screen pass. Trips to the bottom for the defenders. And Burbage, who's 11 for 12. And he's now 12 for 13, up to close to midfield on a nice sideline catch over there. Hauled in by the defenders. Called by Kendrick Curry, the sophomore, made that catch. Curry.
A lot of sophomores making plays for this team.
So Curry with the catch. First down up to the 48-yard line, and Jalen Burbage now 12 of 13, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns. Burbage and throws it a little bit low, diving effort, but incomplete, trying to go to Curry again, I believe. Yeah, Curry was the intended receiver, but that one Curry dove for, but it hit the ground before he could come up with it. So now Burbage is 12 for 14, passing the quarterback for
Gary Jedrick Wills. And we talk about him a lot.
Yep.
I am telling you, he totally abused the offensive blocker that time. He pushed the blocker back 7 yards.
He's rushing this time.
He's looking for a screen.
A little screen caught there by Jones. Jones, and he's going nowhere. Pulled down by a couple of generals over on the far side of the field. One of the generals a little slow getting up.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch these defensive linemen. They're obviously very well coached, Gary, because the play before that, they rushed hard. That play, they recognized the screen and just kind of held the blockers and then drifted out to help make the tackle. You got a timeout going on now.
That was called by Lafayette. They called the timeout. 3:39 here in the first half. Lafayette 42, Bryan Station 20 at the end of the first quarter. It was 21-20, Coach. And as you said, Bryan Station's gotten away from what got them that 21-20 first quarter score a little bit here in the second. But, of course, like you said also, fumbles, interceptions can tend to do that.
Yeah, and I think Lafayette has had a little call to the altar there by the defense and saying, don't let that quarterback run the football. Let's keep Jalen Burbage from running the football, make him throw the football, make him to do those things. And again, the defenders just can't lose patience. They're not out of this game.
Right.
They just need maybe a big play or two to get back in it and don't want to make another mistake before halftime. The only thing they really cannot afford to do is get another turnover here at midfield.
Right. Lafayette trying to go to 6-1. Bryan Station, a couple of quality wins this year over a good Wayne County team. In overtime, the game we did on here on PrepSpin, the Roy Kid Bowl, and a really quality win over a 5-1 Madison Central team, Coach.
And we saw them. They're a good football team.
Yes, they are. Here's Burbage firing it down the left side, and it's going. What a great over-the-head catch down to the 20-yard line. What a super throw and catch. And that was Curry.
Nice job.
Curry with a great catch.
Doing that one backside receiver that's alone over there. What's interesting, too, watching Burbage throw the football, he kind of reminds me of Michael Vick when he throws the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how Michael Vick used to just flip his wrist and the ball would go 30 or 40 yards? That's what it looked like on that throw.
He's 14 of 16 now. Gives now Jones. He's not going anywhere.
Wheels, they're too much. These big defensive linemen are just too much. They're in there too quickly. They're trying to run a little zone, and penetration is the worst thing you can do, allow offensively when you're trying to run those plays. Really.
Burbage is 14 of 16, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has 2nd down 11, under 3 minutes now here in the first half. Burbage throwing it left side, a receiver trying to run under it, and there's some contact there. Yeah, there comes a late flag.
Yeah.
Curry was pleading his case, and the official, the back judge, threw the flag there, and that's going to be interference against Lafayette. 2:54 in the first half, and that'll set Bryan Station up in business now, Coach.
Again, it's kind of interesting to watch this defense. Again, you start to see this in the pros a little bit in some colleges where you stand around and you can't really know who to block offensively because people are walking around, standing around. Jedrick Wills that time walked toward the sideline, came back about where the tackle is. He never got down in the stance. And then when the ball was snapped, Gary, he released outside the edge player to rush the quarterback. I've never seen that before. I don't know whether he's doing that on his own or not. I hope not. I hope that's a coaching thing.
First down on that interference. Bryan Station has it at the that is going to be 2nd down. They need a yard for the first down. Burbage looking, pump fakes. Burbage now looking, getting pressure, runs out, and it's going to lose several yards back to the 18. He's going to lose about 6 yards.
I'm curious as to why he's got little happy feet back there now because the rush is really good. Not his fault. The rush is good. Right. But he seems to want to scramble to the left. He's a right-handed quarterback. Scramble to the formation. Every once in a while you need to scramble away from that formation. And we always did what's called a scramble drill. And when the quarterback is in a scramble, the deep receivers come short. The short receivers go deep. The backside receivers come across. And sometimes when you do that, you can get receivers open when you scramble.
So 2:48 in the first half, 3rd down for Bryan Station. Burbage, he ran out of bounds at the 18-yard line, and there's going to be a flag, and that play is going to be blown dead before they get it off. So it'll be 3rd and 13. Delay of game.
Those mistakes are just going to sneak up on you. They're going to hurt you in the long run. You got to clean up your game before you get to the playoffs.
Lafayette has really blown this one open. It was 21-20 at the end of the first quarter. Lafayette now leads 42-20 in the game. Bryan Station trying to score here late in the first half. They're down by 3 touchdowns. Burbage sends motion by Lowe to the near side. Burbage backfires, and it's going to be caught and touchdown.
Nice job.
That's going to be Lowe, Micah Lowe with the touchdown catch.
And that, again, was the offensive coordinator. He put a man in motion. And if you noticed when you were watching this, when he puts him in motion, there's no movement on defense. There's no adjustment on defense.
Right.
And allows those receivers to find those holes in that zone and run those zone plays. An extremely good job. Now you watch. Lafayette, good coaching, good staff. They'll go in at halftime and they'll say, hey, look, when they go in motion, we got to rotate it a little bit. We got to cover those areas.
Extra point by Owens is up, and it's good. He missed one earlier. 2:41 in the first half, and it's Lexington Lafayette 42 and Lexington Bryan Station 27 here, 2:41. And thanks to UK Sports Medicine, Crown Trophy, Bluegrass Orthopedics, and we'll be back here. 2:41 the first half, 42-27.
I am Lee, and I'm happy with my smile.
And I'm other Lee, and I ain't happy with my smile.
I went to White, Greer, and Maggard, and they fixed my smile for me.
And I never smile, and that's why I'm having some alone time here at dinner.
I love that I can go to White, Greer, and Maggard with all my questions.
And I love that I don't have to brush my teeth at night.
Don't be like this, me. Go to White, Greer, and Maggard for a picture-perfect.
Kick is going to sail out of bounds on the far side, and Lafayette will get that up to the 35-yard line. 2:41 in the first half, and a lot of points, Coach. We've had a total of 69 points scored in this first half, 42-27, and I guess that begs the question, where's the defense?
Where's the defense? And I think, again, both teams are just holding on till halftime so they can make some adjustments. I think that's the key right there.
Speaking of that, I'm really surprised Bryan Station. We saw Lafayette get the onside kick earlier in this first half. I'm surprised Station didn't try an onside kick there.
Well, you notice that Lafayette said, I don't want the ball on the 35-yard line.
We want you to kick it again.
We want you to kick it again. We don't think you can kick to us. So, we're going to make you kick it again. With 2 minutes and 41 seconds, that's plenty of time for Lafayette to mount a drive.
Newcomb and Morgan back deep for the Generals. Are standing inside the 20. Here's the kick to the far side again. He kicked it out of bounds again.
Well, this is a choice then, because I think you still have to get the ball. You still have to make him kick it again. You still have to force the kick again here.
So he might as well kick it down the middle, right? Kick it maybe short, not too deep. I don't know what your strategy.
You know what a lot of teams will do here? They'll onside kick.
Yeah.
They'll onside kick and try to, you'll see every once in a while these kickers that are really good at it. They'll pop the ball straight in the air.
Right.
And the defenders, the offensive team, the receiving team sometimes just has to fair catch the ball, which you can do on a kickoff, by the way. You can fair catch the ball.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize that. You can fair catch. So here's the third attempt by Bryan Station to kick off after the touchdown catch by Lowe. Third touchdown pass. Here's a return there by Newcomb, 40. He's at the 45. He's at midfield. Dances 40 to the 35 and run out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Nice return by Teadre Newcomb.
You know why that was a really nice return? Because he knew that he had the yardage anyway because of the penalties, correct?
Yep.
So he didn't dance. He didn't dance around, maybe I can find a hole here and break a big one and look good on PrepSpin on the replay.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, he just found a little seam, got his shoulders down, ran hard, and got the yardage. Now look at the field position with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
42-27. Lexington Lafayette, number 6th ranked team in 6A football. They've been in the top 10 all year. Their only loss is to number 1 Trinity.
Yep. What a team they have this year. You've mentioned this, and I think it bears to mention again. Trinity has good teams every year, but every once in a while they have that special team, and you feel like this is one of them.
Yeah, it's a good one. Mail played tooth and nail with them, though. Louisville Mail had them beaten. I understand Trinity scored late to win that game. Here is Walker Wood. A little shovel back ball is out of there, and then jump back on is a good job there by Zach Sherman to jump back on. Boy, that could have been dangerous and could have been a turnover there for Lafayette. Good heads-up play by Sherman.
That was a good heads-up play by Sherman. I didn't get the number of the player that came in and knocked the ball loose, though. He was there. He could have taken the handoff. He was in the backfield before the ball was even handed off.
Second down, you're right, and that could have been disastrous for Lafayette because there were Bryan Station defenders there, but Zach Sherman did a good job pouncing back on that loose football. Under a minute 55 to go first half. 2nd and 17 for the Generals and Walker Wood. Wood fires left, caught 35 and stiff arm and pulled out now they say that's Brown. Quentin Brown tried to stay in bounds, but
Good, nice little short route, got his shoulders back to the quarterback, found that window. You know, sometimes what happens is you run these routes. I noticed that the receiver on the other side, too, ran a little hook route in the middle. Not only do you have to run the route, but sometimes you have to shuffle so that you have a window so the quarterback can see you with these defensive backs moving back and forth and everywhere.
That's right.
This is really fun football.
Minute 44, Wood, Walker. And he's going to be, here's a flag down as Walker gets to the 35.
Yeah, the referee threw the white hat threw that ball, so it must have been a holding.
Yeah,
penalty.
it's going to be holding against Lafayette. You know, the big lineman there, we have, you talked about him a little bit tonight on defense, Jedrick Wills, 6'5", senior, 5-star offensive recruit. And, Coach, where is he going?
Well, we don't know. I mean, we don't know, but
we have an idea.
We've heard rumors, but you know, we're hoping he could lean a little bit at the last minute to UK. But I think there's Damian Harris, if you remember that name, might be looking for a little extra blocker.
Yeah, and he's got to be upset that he got that ankle injury last week because I don't know how much he's going to be able to play tomorrow night for Alabama. Their leading rusher.
Yeah, and he wants to play so bad against the Wildcats. We saw him play awesome running back in high school.
4th and long for Wood. Wood looking, now throws, and it's caught down to the 25, but they're going to be a couple of yards short, and that catch is made there by Guilfoyle, and Guilfoyle, that is going to be Guilfoyle's 3rd catch, but that'll turn the ball back over to Bryan Station.
Nice job by Bryan Station coming up. They kind of laid back. I didn't see much of a rush on the quarterback, on Walker Wood. Not much of a rush at all. In fact, they looked like they backed off looking for screen or looking for run, too. But, again, good job by Bryan Station coming up and making the tackle. They get the ball there. That they dodged the bullet there, Gary, because I guarantee if Lafayette could have punched another one in there, it would have been that's a hard momentum switch.
Well, you know, Burbage is 15 of 18 for 199 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, boy, if he gets one here late in this first half, that would really get Bryan Station momentum and get them back in this game after they were trailing 42-20. And Burbage's going to tuck it. He's at the 35. Burbage up to the 42-yard line. He's going to pick up about 17 yards.
He runs like Cornell did. You know, he's kind of stand up high, makes good cuts, kind of a little bit skinny right now as a sophomore. Needs to put a little weight on, maybe a little muscle. But pretty impressive kid. Pretty impressive.
So first down, 1:02 to go. I'm not sure Station. Neither team has a timeout left, do they, Coach? They've all called all 3 of their timeouts.
I believe they have.
So Burbage will have to do it without a timeout, and that's going to be Burbage upset with his receiver, Desmond Bernard. It's going to be another flag. You know the penalties.
Yeah, penalties have killed them.
Oh, my goodness, Coach. That is going to be the 9th penalty. Lafayette, most of their penalties were in the first period. They've got 7 for 57 yards. That's the 9th penalty called against no wonder this first half has taken, an hour and a half.
Hour and a half for the first half mostly because of those penalties. But, again, these are mistakes that young kids make. You know, there's little jumping off sides, little procedure penalties.
46 seconds for Burbage.
Trips to the short side. Look at the isolation on the backside with the wide receiver. The safety is leaning. He's all the way on this side of the hash.
Now they do a lot of shifting as Lowe and Hunt go to the far side out there. Burbs will screen back to this side. 40 looking for the block, and that's going to be knocked out of bounds. Will be Shamar Rich. And there's a Lafayette player down at the 39 shaking up a little bit there. Yeah, that's one of the big D linemen. That's Desmond Simpson, number 54, shaking up a little bit. I think he might have ran into his own player.
I think there was a collision out there on the cut by the receiver. hopefully he's okay. You know, they brought him out. He could have stayed in the game because there wasn't a timeout because of him being down.
Bryan Station, they know that they got to kick the ball to Lafayette to start the second half, so they're trying to get some more points on the board here. You bet your bottom dollar. 26 seconds are up near midfield. Second down, Burbage, who is 16 for 19. Oh. And that's caught, but the clock came out of there late, so they say
it was incomplete.
He had it for a moment and dropped it.
Yeah, that was a nice throw, too. He threw it kind of low, but honestly, a lot of times when you see these quarterbacks throw it low, you think that's a bad pass.
Do you think he looked up at the clock and said, I better drop this? We have no timeouts?
I don't know if he did it or not, Gary. I think he probably wanted to catch it, but again, with the ball's thrown low like that, you've got to go down and get it, and a quarterback protects his receivers sometimes by throwing the ball down knee level.
3rd and 2, 22.3 seconds. A lot of shifting going on for Bryan Station. Coach has got a special interview up here at halftime. And his UFOs coming up. Unheralded football overachievers. 3rd down. Shovel back inside and to the 40. Still on his feet to the down to the 42-yard line. And that's going to be Hayden Hunt. Clock running, 15 seconds. Of course, they stop it to move the chains. So Bryan Station gets a nice job stopping the clock to move the chains. And they're up there ready to go at the 42 first down for Burbage. And he's going to just spike the football. And Burbage now 17 out of 21, 221 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Walker Wood, 8 carries, 115 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns rushing. Walker Wood, 11 of 17 passing, 173 yards and a touchdown pass. So both quarterbacks have been spectacular here in the first half. As you would think, Coach, in a 42-27 score here, which probably would be our halftime score, 69 points on the board.
Yeah, you know who I'm really liking now, watching a little bit of defensively for Lafayette, is DeMarco Fishback.
Yes, he's a good one. He's a good one, Coach. And there's Floyd, throws a deep one left side, caught, and thought they might try a hook and lateral, but they didn't do it, and that's going to it's going to be close to the first down marker, but that's going to run out the first half. First half will run out, so Station will have run out of time here, but 42-27 will be your halftime score, and Lafayette will take that lead into the locker room here at halftime, 42-27. And, Coach, your thoughts on this first half?
It's all offense, and we're seeing some adjustments now. But big thing is at the beginning of this third quarter, you called it, Gary. Bryan Station has to kick off to Lafayette, and you're going to give Lafayette the ball in decent field position. They don't have a great kicker, Bryan Station, so they're going to get the ball. They're probably going to squib it again and get the ball in good field position. And you do not want them to get a score early in the third quarter if you can. You got to fight these offenses. You have to fight, against these teams to get the momentum and keep the momentum.
So 42-27 is your halftime score. We'll have Coach Meehan's Unheralded Football Overachievers. It's homecoming here. Also, we'll have a special guest. We're at halftime. It's 42-27. A lot going on here in the press box. We'll be back on the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week.
When you're not happy with your smile, you feel down. When you feel down, you stay in bed. When you stay in bed, you miss deadlines. When you miss deadlines, a lot of kids are upset. Don't upset a lot of kids. Love your smile. Call White, Greer, and Maggard today.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthopedics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not happy with my teeth. They're not straight enough.
Let me fix them for you.
No. You are not White Greer and Maggard.
I'm sort of like White Greer and Maggard. I'm local, love smiles, love to fix things.
No.
Sorta you isn't you. White, Greer, and Maggard, where a beautiful smile is just the beginning.
Lee, and I'm happy with my smile.
And I'm Other Lee, and I ain't happy with my smile.
I went to White, Greer, and Maggard, and they fixed my smile for me.
And I never smile, and that's why I'm having some alone time here at dinner.
I love that I can go to White, Greer, and Maggard with all my questions.
And I love that I don't have to brush my teeth at night.
Don't be like this, me. Go to White, Greer, and Maggard for a picture-perfect smile.
Hi, this is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards. They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of our 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up in all sports. Pick it up in all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not loving my smile. I should have got braces when I was a kid. I want my teeth to be straight.
Dude, go to White, Greer, and Maggard. So, I see you took my advice. Better?
Oh, better.
You're not you when your teeth aren't straight. Get started at White, Greer, and Maggard today.
Welcome back to Lafayette High School Ishmael Stadium for the White, Greer, Maggard Game of the Week, brought to you by PrepSpin.com, Kentucky's best and by far favorite digital network. What we're going to do today is we have a special guest, but before we do that, we're going to do what we usually do, and that is cover our UFOs. Now, we started this, Karen, I'll just talk to you too. We started this quite a few years ago, and what we call it is a UFO. A UFO is the unheralded football overachiever. And what I do is I talk to each coach a week before the game, and I ask them to give me the name of somebody and some information on somebody involved in their program, man or woman. It doesn't matter what, whether they're a custodian or a player or a coach or a booster or whatever, who goes above and beyond but gets a little credit for what they do. We like to honor those people. So today we're going to talk first of all about Bryan Station. Coach Frank Parks decided that his UFO, unheralded football overachiever, is his head freshman coach, Kedrick Seals. He's a Bryan Station graduate. Actually, I talked to him before the game, had a nice conversation. He's a wonderful young man. He's actually working on his doctorate right now. And he's an educator. He says, I am an educator. I'm a coach secondly. I'm an educator first. He's a great guy. He's working on his doctorate, but he's also was a student at Bryan Station. He talks about one of the things that Coach Parks says he does is he actually works with students to prepare for the ACT program, the ACT tests. Not only does he help them prepare for the tests, but he helps some of them who can't afford it to find money to pay for the test themselves. Just does a super job. He has great organizational skills. He's able to delegate things off the field. Coach Parks says this is the kind of guy where if Coach Parks has a problem, he can turn to Kedrick Seals and give him some things to do. He knows he's going to do a good job. He's going to be organized. He's going to complete things and do a great job with it. He's a super asset to the football team at Bryan Station High School. He's a wonderful asset to the players and the players' parents. He has a love of the school, a love of the team. It was his alma mater. You can't beat that no matter what. Great guy. UFO for Bryan Station High School this week is Kedrick Seals. Now let's go to Lafayette. Talk to Coach Shaw. Coach Shaw, actually, I got some information from Alex Matthews about their UFO. Their unheralded football achiever is Trevante Walker, a player on the team, number 57. He's a junior. He's an inside linebacker for the Lafayette football team. Trevante is a starter on the JV team and a backup on the varsity team on Friday nights. The coaching staff at Lafayette believes that Trevante is more than just deserving of the UFO award because of what he does during the week. Everybody knows how important it is each week to prepare for the opposing team, and Devontae is a big part of that. He will give everything he can during the week to allow the offense and defense of the Lafayette football team to get ready for the opposing players that they're going to have to take care of. The offensive coaches who are in charge of lining up the scout team defense correctly, a lot of times Trevante is the one to do it. He's a leader on the field. He'll line up his own teammates the correct way and motivate him to make the right play. It's a difficult job to do. You don't get a lot of credit. You don't get a lot of love for it. And yet when you're preparing the team as what we call a scout team player, that's a real special thing to do. He makes his teammates better each week. He makes his teammates better each day. He loves the game. He loves the football team. He's a real special young man. So the Lafayette coaching staff can't wait to see his hard work pay off in the future, because guys like him, they make it up, they climb the chart, and they end up doing a good job. So congratulations to Trevante Walker and to Kedrick Seals, both UFOs this week, unheralded football overachievers. Now, I'm going to talk to this young lady here beside me, Carol Huber. We have a little history. We actually work together. Let's talk a little bit about you, how you got started in education, and how you ended up as a dean of students.
Well, I have a wonderful story. It kind of reminds me of the story of you go on this journey, but you come back to where you started, but you had to go on that journey to appreciate where you are. I worked with you at Dunbar for numerous years. Then I went to Baltimore for 9 years, and I worked with inner city kids in Baltimore in a residential treatment center for girls. And then I went to a level 5 school where I worked with students from D.C. and Baltimore City. Then I had a young lady, a little girl, B, and I returned to Dunbar. That's what I know. And then this opportunity to work at Lafayette, where I attended school back in the early 90s, came open, and I had a chance to work with Brian Jacobs and David Scholl and Richard Royster, who all worked at Dunbar as well.
Right, we worked with David Scholl. I remember that. Yeah, right. Was he an English teacher?
He was a social studies teacher.
Social studies teacher, right, yeah. We had good times at Dunbar. Those were good years, and you did a really good job there, too. I think you saw then, as you see now, that it's really important, and I'd like you to comment on this, how athletics and academics go together in a school that really cares.
Oh, my goodness. The discipline of an athlete, the mental grit, the dedication, the commitment, are skills that can be generalized into the classroom, right? All of our students are smart, but the students that excel are the ones who push through. They're out of their comfort zone to learn a new concept. They make the extra effort to meet the teacher after class. They're a part of a team. They help their fellow peers in class, and they encourage them. They don't put them down. They encourage them, and they're the role model.
Yeah, that's really important. And working with specifically, because that's what we're doing tonight, working with Coach Shaw and the football staff. Is that a pleasure to you? You deal with those guys? They're pretty. I know Coach Shaw quite well, and a couple other people on the staff. They're good people.
Oh, my goodness. Well, since we're talking about football, I want everyone to know that I could say something similar about every program in our building. I love the staff. I'm not going anywhere because we are a team. Lafayette staff, from our cafeteria workers, from our custodians to our teachers, all the way to our professionals such as social workers, school psychologists. But specifically, Coach Shaw, Coach Matthews, I work with Coach Clark a lot, but I spend most of my time with Coach Shaw and Coach Matthews, and we are a team because I oversee discipline. And they work in the pass room with students who need extra supports, making good decisions. So we often work together. And what he asks of his football players on the field is what he demonstrates, and he shows up for me inside the school building.
Okay, big question. What in the world, what does a dean of students do?
Everything. You name it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Sometimes you see me wheeling down the hallway with the wheelchair, right? But my job, which is so much fun, I have the best job in the world, is to put in place programs, procedures that prevent decrease the opportunity for kids to make bad decisions, right? So as soon as they come in freshman year, I say, pick something. You need to pick something that so that you're involved with positive people. Archery, bass fishing, fashion club, anime club. We have it all. We have role-playing tabletop games. I don't even know what that is. But you always have an adult. You always have other kids to hold you accountable, because when you're with people who don't have anything going on, it's easy to make a bad decision. And 14-year-olds, their brain's not fully developed, right? So you need that oversight.
Well, we talked about that already today. There's been a plethora of penalties in this game. I mean, and they're not like mean, aggressive penalties. They're all mistakes that young people make. You know, getting a little too excited, not quite, jumping before the ball snapped, and so on. All these penalties have consequences. And when you talk about young people, after I left Dunbar, I spent a little time at Martin Luther King Academy working with those young people. And again, you don't want to belabor points, but you have to make them understand that there are consequences, and as they get in adult life, there are consequences for what they do. But again, I agree with you 100%. When you have activities for them that take those make them lean a little bit toward that side, keeps them busy, and that's a good thing. And I bet the parents love that too.
Listen, this football team, every game day, I ask them what are their goals, and they say, for example, Xavier Douglas said, "Miss Huber, I'm going to make 10 tackles." When I saw Tyrone Williams, he said, "Miss Huber, I've been watching film. I'm going to have 15 blocks." KJ Cooper, he said, "Miss Huber, I'm going to have 2 picks." Last weekend, KJ Cooper said, "Miss Huber, I'm going to do a pick 6. I'm like, "You're too young to play the lottery." He's like, "No, Miss Huber, I'm talking about picks." I said, "Okay."
You got to get with the lingo. All right, well, we're getting ready to start the second half, but I just want to say to you that I look forward to this. I know you hesitated a little bit of doing this, but we're friends. We can talk. That's all we're doing up here. So we're going to take a little break here in a second. I want to thank you very much. I think we learned a little bit about Lafayette. We're going to learn some more about them as time goes on. I'm just glad to see you back in the system, and we had some pretty good times working together. I appreciate what you do, and hopefully Lafayette will keep up their good work in the classroom and on the football field.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And I have to tell you, I have such fond memories of you. The fact that you're a football coach and a passionate English teacher, and when my car broke down, you'd pick me up for work. You remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a little break here, getting ready to start the second half. And again, we're here. The score is 42-27 in favor of Lafayette over Bryan Station, and this is the White Greer Maggard Game of the Week on PrepSpin.com.
When you're not happy with your smile, you feel down. When you feel down, you stay in bed. When you stay in bed, you miss deadlines. When you miss deadlines, a lot of kids are upset. Don't upset a lot of kids. Love your smile. Call White, Greer, and Maggard today.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthodontics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up in all sports. Pick it up in all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com, locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not happy with my teeth. They're not straight enough.
Let me fix them for you.
No. You are not White Greer and Maggard.
I'm sort of like White Greer and Maggard. I'm local, love smiles, love to fix things.
No.
Sorta you isn't you. White, Greer, and Maggard, where a beautiful smile is just the beginning.
(42-27) halftime score. Gary Ball here with Coach Mike Meehan, William Warfield, Joe Allen. First half stats, Walker Wood, leading rusher, 8 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing for Lafayette. Bull Burbage had the quarterback for Station, 17 of 21, 221 yards in the first half, 3 touchdown passes for Bryan Station. Hayden Hunt had 5 catches for 50 yards. Chris Jones, 5 catches, 49 and a touchdown. Shamari Rich had 2 catches, 71 yards and a touchdown. Looking at Quentin Brown, 5 catches. He led Lafayette in receiving. Mitchell led with 6 tackles in the first half for Station, and Quantez Cooper had 4 for Lafayette. Individual numbers, 14 first downs for Lafayette, 12. We're just about set for the second half here, 12 first downs for Bryan Station. Total yardage in that first half, 307 yards for Bryan Station. We had 686 yards of offense in the first half, 379 by Lafayette. Time of possession in that first half, almost dead even, 11 minutes, 12 seconds for Station, 11 minutes, 32 seconds for Lafayette. Those are the big numbers from the first half. And as Coach Meehan and I said, Lafayette will receive the football to start the second half action here. So Lafayette will receive the ball. And they have a 42-27 lead here as we get set for the second half of action. Bryan Station 3-3. And by the way, guys, talked to some of the Lafayette folks here. We thought it's not homecoming here. It's not homecoming night. Sure looked like homecoming before the game, but it is not homecoming here tonight at Lafayette. I guess they've already had that this year. So we stand corrected on that. And when we stand corrected, we will correct our mistakes. So, but anyway, the big score is 42-27. Coach Meehan back with me. William Warfield producing. And we're just about set for Bryan Station to kick off. And that first half and the halftime took nearly as much as the game did last week because we had a running clock in the second half with Henry Clay and Lafayette. We're almost into 2 hours right now, Coach, and I left the stadium last week at 10 o'clock. I don't think it's going to happen tonight.
I don't think so either, but I was grabbing a bite to eat there.
Yes, sir, that's
and
fine.
I didn't hear you.
That's fine.
What was the total yardage?
686 yards of offense by both teams, 379 to 307.
I'll tell you what.
So nearly 700 yards of offense in the first half.
It's a fun game. It really is. Had a nice interview, 2 good UFOs, ready to start this second half.
Here's the kick. It's going to be an onside kick, and Bryan Station sees it recovered by Lafayette, and that's great hands there jumping on it for Lafayette, and that was number 30. We're going to find out who that young man was there for the Lafayette Generals as we sift through our rosters here. We want to give credit to the young man who recovered it there. That is Jalen Cooper. Cooper with the recovery, Coach. Trying to give credit to all these young men. So Mercer County East Jessamine, 27-all at the end of the third quarter.
Game.
You know, this is really the only city game going on in Lexington tonight. Catholic and Christian are off, and Tate's Creek's off, and
Catholic needs a break. They really have to get their stuff together.
Walker Wood's going to tuck it. Woods hit, breaks a tackle, and down to the 46, and finally tackled right there at the 46-yard line. Walker Wood, he just refuses to go down on the first or 2 hits, doesn't he, Coach? He will. I don't know how many times have we seen Walker Wood tackled by the first guy that hits him. Not very many times.
No, and he has that quick little move, too, where he can get away. He does a little spin move. Bryan Station did a really good job of locking him up that time.
So he picked up about 6 yards or maybe 5. So we're starting the second half action. 42-27 Lafayette, though, starting with the ball. Gary Ball, Mike Meehan, William Warfield, Joe Allen, our videographer. Here's Wood. Looking right. Wood's going to fire. Guilfoyle's got it. Guilfoyle to the 30, and is going to be tackled right there at the 30-yard line. Matthew Guilfoyle. That's his 6th catch of the game.
He does a nice job of catching the ball. Again, all these receivers run good routes, too. pretty good job of coming up and helping with the tackle that time. Mitchell, I guess.
Yeah, Mitchell. He had 6 tackles in the first half, Coach.
Yeah,
Mitchell did. So first down at the 30 on a nice catch by Guilfoyle. Wood. He fakes it, tucks it himself, and Walker to the 22, still driving his way. And let's see where they stop him at, about the 21-yard line. And Mitchell came up and helped. Mitchell helped out again on that tackle, Coach.
Little linebacker blitz, what we call an A-gap blitz that time, and the blitz guy, Walker Wood, just happened to be going in the opposite direction. If he would have tried to run that A-gap that time, he would have gotten eaten up by that blitz.
I'd say Rick and Sandy Haynes are watching tonight. I'd say Daniel Broadwater's watching in Kingston. I would say Jane Walker and Cotton are watching as well in Knoxville. We know that Jayhawk is watching up in Illinois. We got him watching in about 10 states tonight. What's that? Yeah, we gave him a shout-out in the first half. Sergeant Steinman. Fire receiver falls, intercepted by Bryan Station. Intercepted up to the 15-yard line. The receiver fell down, and that allowed it to be picked off by Bryan Station.
Yeah, the receiver's begging. He's talking to the official saying, hey, I was interfered with. I was tripped. That's why I fell. I don't fall down like that.
Mitchell picked it off.
Yeah, Mitchell picked it off. But the receiver that was in the zone.
And, of course, Coach, we got to give some love to Sergeant Anthony Steinman in Iraq. He's watching. We gave him a shout-out in the first half, Sergeant Anthony Steinman. Pick off. That's the second pick tonight by Walker Wood, second interception.
And that was Guilfoyle, too, who fell, and I think that he felt like he was interfered with.
Did you think so?
I think it was their feet just got mixed up.
Yeah. So Jones is to the left of Burbage. Motion by Hunt. Burbage fires over to Hunt he gets the pass, and he breaks a tackle, and good job by Hunt to get it up to about the 16-yard line, Coach. And that is 9 minutes, 52 seconds, Coach, in the third, 42-27. But Bryan Station has the first turnover here in the second half.
They did on the interception on the receiver. Guilfoyle fell down or was taken down. We're not sure which. I would love to see the replay on that. But, again, Bryan Station's got to mount a drive.
Here's Burbage's pass, a diving effort over there on the far side.
Nice.
Caught over there on a diving catch. Number is very hard to see. That's Curry. Yeah. Curry with the catch. Well, Curry's done a nice job, Coach. A kid that hadn't played a whole lot, and that's his third catch right there.
Yeah, I think they're going to look at him in the future, too.
Only a sophomore.
He looks really – a lot of these sophomores making plays, like we said.
3rd and 2, 9 minutes, 8 seconds in the third, 42-27. Burbage, and he tucks it. Burbage, and he will not go down. Burbage still on his feet up to the 35-yard line. What a great run by Burbage. And Burbage, of course, from great stock when you look at – as you said, 5 or 6 Burbages have played at Bryan Station?
He's the 5th at Bryan Station, and they were all
Cornell.
Darn good football players. Only one of them was a lineman. Phillip was a lineman. Phillip passed away, I think, last year.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of sad, too. And, great family, have a lot of love for their children.
Is Ben Meehan still watching us down in Florida?
He may be. Hopefully he is. He loves to watch these games.
Burbage, and he's up, doesn't get the line of scrimmage. Bank's going to lose about a yard. And, of course, we appreciate all you folks watching tonight. And 8 minutes, 34 seconds in the third, and it's going to be second down and along 11 for Bryan Station. They got the interception by Mitchell. Let's look at these quarterbacks tonight, Coach. Burbage is 19 of 23 for 229 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Walker Wood is 12 of 19 for 179, but has rushed for 3 touchdowns and thrown 1 tonight.
Yeah, nice job by both of them, really.
8 minutes, 12 seconds here. Burbage looking left, fires over there, and incomplete. Shaw was in the vicinity. If Shaw picks that off, that's a pick 6.
It is, and Shaw read that play. He stepped in front of it, just got there a little bit late. Look, he knows it, too.
Yeah, he knows it. He read that play like his father, Eric Shaw, used to read all those plays with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, again, these quarterbacks are keeping that ball. They're throwing these little short passes. They're really trying their best not to get lose their patience, because these short passes are normally open.
Yeah,
you got to be careful.
We want to thank, of course, one of our special sponsors, Mingy Beef Jerky, Coach.
Right.
Mingy Beef Jerky. You got to try this stuff. Mingy Beef Jerky.
Paris, Kentucky.
And that one's tipped up, intercepted. Tipped up at the 40 to himself. Then the defender pulled down the interception there for Lafayette.
Yeah, they're hitting those really quick passes in the middle like that. I think
Brendan Lane.
Yeah, I think Brendan Lane reached up and tipped the ball and ended up catching it himself.
Boy, Sergeant Steinman's fired up about that in Iraq right now, watching his son. But he tipped us. Brendan Lane tipped that up in the air himself and picked it off for Lafayette, 7:59 to third, and they get the ball back. So back-to-back turnovers, Coach. Back-to-back picks, a pick by Mitchell of Station, and now Brendan Lane with the interception for the Lafayette Generals.
Yeah, these defensive backs are starting to figure out these zones and these holes that the receivers are trying to pick and the quarterback's trying to throw, and they're stepping in front of these plays now. Maybe time for Bryan Station to go deep.
Motion by Brown. Instead, they give it back to Cameron Morgan. Dances Morgan to the 20. Nice run by Morgan down inside the 18. That's going to be a 15-yard pickup by Cameron Morgan.
A lot of good contact going on there. Good blocking downfield by the Lafayette Generals.
8 carries, 87 yards now from Morgan. Walker Wood's a leading rusher, 10 carries, 138. Coach, that's almost 14 yards a carry for Wood. Can you believe that yard per carry? And then, of course, Morgan, 8 carries, 87 yards now.
And Guilfoyle, my goodness, he's catching and blocking.
Morgan dancing into the line again and down to the 12-yard line. Finally pulled down there by Bryan Station. McClone made this stop there for the Station defense.
Gary Ball, you notice how Morgan, he goes forward all the time. You ever see him driven back or tackled on his back?
Right.
He falls forward. He keeps his shoulders down, and
you know
he gets
what they call that,
yardage.
Coach?
You tell me.
That's called a north-south runner.
Is that right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess.
No east-west.
No. Not these guys.
Here's Walker Wood. Tucks it. Dives down inside to about the 6-yard line.
Yeah, he does a really good job of turning upfield. We've mentioned that before, getting those shoulders square and turning upfield.
Walker Wood started as a freshman. Remember the injury to the quarterback of Lafayette. He was thrown into action as a freshman. But I'll tell you what, coaches, we talked to Eric Shaw before the game. We mentioned that. He's just a young man, and as Coach Shaw put it best, he just extends plays.
Yeah, he extends plays, and he's a leader. And I love the leadership role. We have 2 things going on right now, Gary. We have a penalty, a procedure penalty.
An injury.
And an injury.
So that'll remind us to tell you about Mingy Beef Jerky. That's right, Mingy Beef Jerky. As Coach Hall, Joe B. Hall, the legend himself, used to always say about Mingy Beef Jerky, you got to try this stuff.
Well, I know somebody that did, because we had a bag of that was supposed to go to the coaches. We had a bag of that was supposed to go to the coaches a couple of weeks ago.
And it was gone quick.
One of the bags in there disappeared to someone I know named Gary Ball.
Coach, the winning coach tonight is going to get an IOU because we ain't got no Mingy left.
The Mingy's gone. We'll have to give him an IOU. Joe's going to have to go down the field, break it to him. Joe's a big man. He can go down there and tell him. I'm not going down.
It's going to be a Mingy Beef Jerky IOU.
Right. We're going down there and say, I'm sorry, but you don't have any Mingy Beef Jerky tonight because somebody ate it.
42-27 here. As Coach Meehan said, we had a injured player.
And a 5-yard penalty.
And a penalty. Took it back to the 17-yard line. Second down there for the Generals. Walker Wood, 12 of 19, 179 yards, touchdown pass, 11 carries, 144 yards. Wood looking left, fires. He's got a wide open receiver, and he's got a second touchdown pass of the game. And that goes to celebration going on. I believe, is that Guilfoyle again?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's Guilfoyle. I was thinking it was Sherman, number 11. Hard to see the number down there, but that's Guilfoyle, number 17.
Right. I'm not sure about a celebration. When you're just chest bumping people, I don't know whether or not maybe we're getting a little too heavy-handed with these officials on those things. I understand choreographed celebrations. I understand that. And maybe that was a little choreographed, but
kind of. Yeah, I'm watching it there. There's a lot of chest bumping going on, Coach. He chest bumped about.
On the first one.
Yeah, and then the flag went on the first chest bump, so they could have thrown 4 of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, but I understand. I really do understand celebration and choreographing celebrations, but, whatever.
That was a 4-play drive, 32 yards. They used only a minute 23, Coach.
Okay, Gary, we missed something. Maybe you might have to run that back if you get a chance during the timeout or something, because they called that against both teams. They called unsportsmanlike against Bryan Station, unsportsmanlike like against Lafayette?
Mm-hmm. Well, they've already put the points up on the board. So.
Well, yeah, the touchdown penalty was after that.
Right. So how will they assess that on the kickoff? Offsetting?
No, it's just offsetting.
Got you. Well, it's kind of a moot point at this stage.
It is, but still. I think if you call unsportsmanlike against a player, if he gets a second one, he's ejected.
That's exactly right.
That is not moot if you get ejected in the next game, too.
Here comes the Sutton Averett extra point. High snap. Just gets it down, and with all that query and everything, he's going to kick it low. No good. So 6:36. Boy, that was interesting. The holder, Serafini, did a great job of bringing it down, but he couldn't get it down in time for the extra point. They did get the kick, but it was well short.
Yeah, well short.
So 6:36 in the third. It is Lafayette Generals 48, Bryan Station Defenders 27. We'll return here to the Mingy Beef Jerky. Thanks to Mingy Beef Jerky, Bob Roberts Insurance on the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week.
I am Lee.
Short kick recovered by Lafayette again. So the second time tonight they get an onside kick and they recover it.
Yeah, that's
there was such a fray of players there. We would almost have to look at that again from William Warfield's replay to see who recovered it there. I did not see who jumped on. There were so many players there for Lafayette.
I thought at the last minute the Bryan Station player had it, but I guess the Lafayette player beat him under the pile. You know what? Onside kicks, they shouldn't be working like that now. Bryan Station has to make adjustments and put these people with better hands up front to make those plays.
All right, we got that was Darren Flores. Flores, number 1, who recovered it there for Lafayette. So here comes Walker Wood at the midfield. Walker rolling to the right, fires, and caught down to the 37-yard line, and that's pulled in there by Lafayette's outstanding receiver, and that is, of course, Newcomb, who had the touchdown catch last week against Henry Clay.
Really impressed with Walker Wood on that throw again. He's rolling and throwing the ball at a full run. The receiver's coming back to the ball, a little bend route, coming back to the football. Nice job.
We want to thank WL Stats for this stat monitor tonight. Steve Patterson, the public address announcer here at Lafayette. Boy, Steve does a great job over there for the PA. Walker Wood, inside handoff, goes to Robinson. Robinson with some running room, and then knocked down at the 30-yard line.
He's quick.
He is.
We have a little action going on in the secondary, a little one-on-one between a Bryan Station player and a Lafayette player. I'm sure it wasn't on the video because it was way, let me count, it was 5, 10, 15, 20 yards behind the play, or in front of the play.
Lafayette, coach, who do you see on their schedule? They still have to play Tates Creek, teams like that. They already played Scott County. They got the win in that game on the forfeit because Scott County wouldn't reschedule. So they get the win there 1-0. So who do you see on their schedule, coach, that you think possibly would give Lafayette the most trouble?
I think if I'm looking at what I'm seeing now with the passing game, that Bryan Station seems to be pretty successful. I'd say Tates Creek has got the best shot. But again, Tates Creek's going to have to play defense. They're going to have to somehow keep Walker Wood from running the football. I would make him throw. I know he's a good passer. I know that. Yeah. But I would make him throw. You cannot let him run the football.
Right. I can definitely check the Lafayette schedule, coach, and after this second down play, I'll tell you who is on the Lafayette schedule the rest of the season. Here is pass caught out down to the 30-yard line, caught there by Lafayette, and it's caught by Daquan Edwards.
Yeah, did a nice job on that route too. Got out of bounds. Again, there's a lot of action going on out there now. There's some hitting going on in this football game.
Linda and Andy Medler watching. We're Arizona. Man,
Nice.
we've got them watching all over tonight.
Right. I'm telling you, man. This is the way to do it. You know, if you can't make it to the game, watch it on PrepSpin.
All right, here's who Lafayette's got left, okay? They play Clark County. That's a W. They play Madison Central and Tage Creek.
Yep.
So Madison Central Creek might be their toughest test.
I don't think Madison Central can play defense against them. I really don't.
Walker Wood down to the 21, got the first down by plenty. So, you know, from what we've given tonight, all these viewers around the state, that's at least 12 states we got watching the game tonight on PrepSpin. William, I count at least 12 states that are different states that are watching the game tonight all over the country. Not to mention that we got watching locally, right, to see the Walker Wood machine, the Jed Wills, a big 5-star lineman. Where's he going? Wood, quick pass, and it's going to be caught down to the 15 by Brown, spun around, and Quinton's going to take it to about the 11.
I'm impressed with him. I really am. This is fun for me to watch a receiver. Reminds me of the route running reminds me of Dougie Allen, the way Dougie used to run his routes. Real crisp and real disciplined. Quarterback, you got to have faith in your quarterback. You have to have confidence in him and the way he throws the football.
If you're looking ahead to the playoffs, Lafayette, should they be, they'll be in the playoffs, but should they get to the regional final, that's when they would meet Scott County in the regional final game we did last year, Coach.
And I think Coach McKee's already prepared for that game.
Here's a handoff to Morgan. He stumbles, and Cameron, and he dives down inside the 5, and that will be close to taking Morgan over 100 yards rushing tonight. He had 9 carries, 92 yards prior to that 6-yard pickup there. So he's 99 yards, about as close as you can get to 100 anyway.
He's got 99 yards, and again, that's 2 players for Lafayette. Walker Wood with 152 yards and 12 carries. Cameron Morgan, 10 carries with 99 yards. Robinson, actually, 4 carries for 25 yards. So
yeah, Wood, of course,
they're running the ball well.
Walker also has 3 rushing touchdowns, along with
that's
2
nice.
thrown touchdowns on 16 of 23, 214. So Wood has amassed nearly 400 yards and 5 touchdowns tonight. We still got 4:31 in the third. Handoff left side and reversing it to Shaw. He's going to be knocked down back at the 10. That's a nice play there. Turned in Mitchell.
We have a Bryan Station player down in the end zone, but he's getting up. Let me tell you what we saw on that play. I don't know, William, if you saw it or not, but Walker Wood, when the running back reversed his field, Walker Wood planted a guy with a block. He actually planted. Watch your quarterback on this play. He comes back, watch. Bam.
Sure did. Pancaked him.
Pancaked somebody.
He had a tackle tonight that is probably going to go viral because of the way he tackled Chris Jones after he picked him off. And as I said, I think I made the comment, maybe Kentucky will move him to linebacker with that kind of tackling going on. But 4:11, the player's shaking down. We don't think Mingy Beef Jerky. You got to try this stuff. Mingy Beef Jerky. Also, thanks to all of our sponsors tonight. Also, Ryan Tyson over at Crown Trophy. Everybody in the booth tonight hooked up with gear that Ryan Tyson and Crown Trophy did for the PrepSpin crew. And with gear, Coach has got his hoodie on tonight, said it's real comfortable. Hoodie and T-shirt. We got our, what do you call these things, William, that we've got on, these zipper jackets? What are these called? Just we're not sure what they're called. But
well, one thing they say PrepSpin on them.
Yes, that's
mine,
right.
Mine's so comfortable, I might sleep in mine tonight. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. So, check out, by the way, I haven't mentioned it up, but the Scholastic Ball Report. That'll be Sunday at 12:30. Jenny Williams, by the way, we're going to try to fit her in at halftime, but we had so much going on. Jenny Williams would join me Sunday at 12:30 on the CW on the Ball Report. We'll talk about the kit. Coach, what do you think the kit is? The kit? The kit.
Oh, I'm sure that's what the trainers carry on the field, right?
Absolutely.
It takes care of everything.
We'll talk about the kit.
I could tell you stories about the kit, by the way.
Yeah, the kit, and that's what Jenny and I will talk about Sunday at 12:30 on CW. Also, Boyle County, the soccer girls, 18-1. They're on the show as the team of the week. And here goes the Walker Wood play here. As the train goes by, Wood fires right side, tipped around, and nearly pulled down by Daquan Edwards, but he tried to tip it to himself, much like Brendan Lane did on the interception when he tipped it up in the air and Lane pulled it down. Yeah. That time Edwards tried to do the same thing on the touchdown. I'll tell you what, that was a good route run there by Daquan, and he is upset he didn't catch a touchdown there.
Well, the ball was thrown a little high.
Yeah, a little high by Walker.
Just a real quick story about a trainer. You're talking about Jenny. You can tell her. When I was at Bryan Station in the 70s, we had a kid, Mark Logan, actually. actually went to the pros and
Yes,
played
sir.
running back. He kept cramping, constantly cramping. We couldn't stop it. We were giving him fluids and everything. We had a doctor on the sideline, Dr. Ireland, Mary Lord Ireland.
Uh-huh.
She grabbed his upper lip and twisted it.
Yep.
She grabbed his upper lip and twisted it. Never had a cramp the rest of the game.
Never cramped. The field goal, by the way, is up by Sutton Averett, and it's good from 28 yards. So field goal's good by Averett after that twisted lip story. I kind of lost my composure, but we'll be back 3:59. It is Lexington Lafayette 51, Lexington Bryan Station 27. We'll return with Coach Mike Meehan and the King of Stream here on the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week.
I got $1 million, to tell you the truth.
And we're back. Here's the kick again, and this time it drives Bryan Station back, and they're going to be out of bounds back at the 6. It kind of surprised them that they kicked it that deep.
Yeah, they did.
And Hunt went back and got it, but instead of great field position out at the 35, Station's going to be backed up to the 5-yard line, maybe the 6. So that's where Bryan Station will have it. 3:56 to go here. It is third quarter, and it's 51-27. Lexington Lafayette on top of Bryan Station. As we said, Lafayette, really they got Clark County, Madison Central, and Tates Creek. That's what's left on their schedule. They're going to be 6-1 after tonight, it looks like, with this big 51-27 lead here late in the third.
So there's really only 3 more weeks left in the regular season.
Well, it goes to the 28th is the last.
Yeah,
the playoffs start November 7th, I believe. Is that what that Friday is? I believe it's the 7th, yeah. I believe that's what it is. Here's Burbage. Screen, and that's going to be caught up to the 7-yard line.
Get you anywhere, though.
Very little gain.
Yeah, Lafayette's playing pretty smart defense out there. They've got a lead now where they feel like they can go ahead and sit back and look for those screens and those plays like that. So they're playing a little safer defense. Notice when you're looking at the picture, I know our picture sometimes, Joe's got it right up on the ball, but they're in a deep cover 2 defense. They have 5-10. I think both safeties are like 50 yards back, and they're playing pressure on this press on the receivers. So.
Burbage in the end zone, sets, throws, and incomplete. Trying to go to Bernard on the far side, and boy, I tell you what, that was a good rush there by Lafayette and big number 54. He is an absolute stud. That is Desmond Simpson, 6'1", 230, and a senior, a leading tackler on this team, Coach. Had 4 sacks coming in, and, man, he was all over Burbage that time.
He was, and took him down, too. And Burbage got up a little slowly, but it looked like he was cramping a little bit, to tell you the truth. See how he's kind of favoring his legs, a little tight leg action.
Beautiful night. The rain has held off. We had some rain yesterday, and it was supposed to rain today. We had a few showers, but here's Burbage rolling to the left again. Burbage, and he throws it, and he's just going to throw it out of bounds and get rid of it. Brings up 4th down, and Bryan Station, boy, as sharp as they looked early in the game. Remember, Burbage at one point was 10 for 10 in this game. So since then, Coach, since Burbage was 10 for 10, he has gone 9 for 18.
It's amazing. Hey, real quickly, I got to make sure I mention this. When I played football at UK back in the old days,
yes, sir,
there was a player there that's a big real estate agent, a good one here in town, named Jim Broadwater.
Uh-huh.
Well, Walker Wood is Jim Broadwater's grandson, and which is really cool because Jim's here tonight. We talked to him at halftime, and good family.
Bad punt, shanked off the right side of the foot. It's going to go out of bounds at the official right there is going to mark it back probably at about the 25-yard line. So that's where Lafayette will have it, 25-yard line here late in the third, leading 51-27. Who's going to stop this juggernaut Lafayette team, Coach? Who can stop them in your opinion this year? They've got Clark County left on their schedule. They've got Madison Central, Tates Creek. I know Jayhawk, my good friend Jayhawk's watching. By the way, that's another viewer watching in Illinois tonight.
Wow,
another state.
All those states. Florida, Illinois, Arizona.
Knoxville, Tennessee, all over.
Different in Europe.
Well, it's because they know we got the king of stream here streaming.
That's right.
A lot of folks, of course, go back and watch the game once it's archived.
Gary, we could go to a running clock here.
Here's a pass knocked away, nearly intercepted. And
is that Guilfoyle?
No, I think that was Daquan Edwards.
Daquan Edwards took a lick that time.
And took a lick and kept on ticking, didn't he?
He did get hit. He got hit on that. They played that quite well. And I don't blame Lafayette for going in the end zone here because, with this lead, it's funny, when you see, a team scores 51 points, you think it's been a complete runaway, but it hasn't been at all. Bryan Station hung in there as long as they could.
Yeah, it was a 21-20 game at the end of the first quarter.
Do you think the interceptions really hurt them and the fumbles?
Here's the hand. Yes, it's been 30-7, Coach, since it was 21-20.
Yeah,
Lafayette's outscored them 30-7.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think the turnovers. Coach Parks really concerned himself with that. He said we can't turn the ball over.
You've had a couple of Burbage has been picked off twice.
Right,
2 picks
in crucial situations too.
Also, you had the fumbles too,
and the onside kick recovery.
A couple of those.
Yeah.
Lafayette's recovered 2 onside kicks. So you're right. That's one thing Coach Parks told us in the pregame. He said we cannot turn the ball over if we want to play with Lafayette. Wood, pump fake, Wood rolling to the left. And they're going to blow that play dead. As Wood was still running, Walker Wood saying, "What's going on? I'm out here playing football, and you're blowing the whistle."
The play was dead before it had started.
Yeah,
but,
that's exactly right.
The official just was a little late on the whistle, I think. Well, here we are, and they're backing up again. Another penalty. It's third down, and if you realize of Lafayette, if they score here, it's a running clock.
Right.
In high school football in Kentucky, it's a running clock.
Right. Yeah, it has to be 35 points, Coach. So they'd have to get it up to 63. Has to be 36 actually before they run the clock.
It's 36. That's right. Yeah.
Here is Wood firing and high, incomplete. Looked like he was going for Guilfoyle again. He was on that 3rd and 15.
Guilfoyle's a tough kid.
He is. Reminds me of Mason Allstat from last year.
You got Mason Allstat from last year, and then I keep forgetting his name. The guy that was at Lexington Catholic that we really liked, Bouvier.
David Bouvier,
taking lick after lick
who catches everything in practice at Kentucky, and they've never played him.
Yeah,
but they say catches every ball thrown to him in practice. David Bouvier.
Yeah,
and he's never stepped on the field at Kentucky.
Yeah,
What's that about?
I don't know.
Bouvier. They told us it was Bouvier. Yeah, I thought it was Bouvier too, but it's pronounced. They said Bouvier.
Nice throw.
Catch and throwed and caught down at the 12. That's going to be Brown. Boy, I tell you, Coach, you've been really on Quentin Brown's bandwagon tonight. Well, there's a good reason. That's his 7th catch.
Yeah, it's fun when you've worked with receivers and quarterbacks for some years. It doesn't matter if it was 20, 30 years ago. It's the same deal. Quarterbacks and receivers need to know each other. They need to feel each other. They know how the other one thinks, how they throw the football. Receivers know how the ball turns, how it comes off the quarterback's hands, how you can catch it. Just have to be real close.
Walker Wood now, if you're keeping score at home, 17 of 27, 231 yards, 2 touchdown passes for Walker Wood. He's also rushed 12 times for 152 and 3 touchdown rushing. Here's the handoff left side down to the 10, 5 trying to get to the corner, shoved out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. And let's see who the ball carrier that time was. That's going to be number 14 for Lafayette, the first carry tonight for Newcomb, DeAndre Newcomb.
Yeah, and Sharp again. We mention Emmanuel Sharp quite often for Bryan Station, making tackles. Again, he ran that one down from behind and pushed him out of bounds. Just really a lot of hustle. No, there's no give up in that kid, not at all.
2:03, of course, Lafayette just absolutely obliterated Henry Clay last week in a running clock. They are just a well-oiled machine, Coach, and they seem like they're Louisville Male. They're like starting to really click offensively, aren't they? As I say that. And Walker Wood gets out of it and looks and improvises and throws a touchdown after he should have been sacked. He throws a strike and a touchdown to Quentin Brown, his 2nd touchdown catch tonight. That was all Walker Wood, as Eric Shaw said, just extending the play.
Yeah, you really have to. You have to when you grab him, you better bring him down right now because his eyes are downfield,
right,
looking for the open receiver. And boy, was he open. Woo.
So they're up 30 now. You have to be 36 points up to get a running clock, a mercy rule. I call it the mercy rule. Lordy have mercy. Right now it could be 31, minute 54 here in the third.
It's still the third period.
Yeah, it's still third quarter. Well, remember that first quarter took 50 minutes. The first half took, what, almost 2 hours?
Yeah.
So we are – last week at this time we were leaving the stadium. Here's the kick. It's up, and it is good. A minute 54 in the third. Lexington Lafayette. Walker Wood now. 3 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns in the air, and 3 on the ground for Walker Wood. He's sensational, Coach. He's a special player, Coach Meehan.
He really is, and he's throwing the ball quite well. I mean, he's also rushing. We talked about the 12 rushes, 152 yards rushing in this game. Just a super job by everybody. And when you get a chance, we talked about Lafayette's schedule the rest of this season. Let's look at Bryan Station's schedule the rest of this season.
Yeah, they're going to drop below. They're going to drop below 500, which is not good for them. But
it isn't. But honestly,
I will get to the Bryan Station. Let me look here, Coach. Give me a second to find them here on my app here.
Yeah,
Bryan Station. Here we go, Coach. They have coming up Dunbar next Thursday night. That's a Thursday night game. There must be some kind of fall break or something. Then they've got Scott County at Bryan Station on the 14th of October. Then they wrap it up at Henry Clay on the 21st.
Those are 3 big games for them. 2 city games and in Scott County.
Here's the Averett kick, deeper this time. Taken in up to the 20, 25, showing some jets. Up to the 40. Nice return by Hunt up to the 42-yard line. That's a 30. That's why they haven't been kicking to him, Coach.
I know.
That kind of speed.
Really quick. Just a good tackle by one of the Lafayette players. I'm guessing, number 25, I think it was.
Making it for Lafayette. That's Cooper. Montez Cooper.
Yeah, nice job of coming in and making the tackle. Yeah, give him credit. Yep. I mean, that's tough. He got all that speed coming at you, and you can still lock up and make a good tackle.
This Burbage kid, I think, as you said, Coach, gets a little size on him, a little weight. He's going to be a super quarterback, kind of like the Andre Davis mold, that kid.
Right.
Burbage, 45, as we talk about him. He's to the 45, cuts it over the far side, gets a block. Burbage to the 30. He's at the 20, and Burbage run down at the 16-yard line.
Super job of running, and I thought he was going to break it all the way.
Yep.
Made that last cut. He had to. And a guy caught him from behind, but really nice job. It's a good football team now. They've got the kind of weapons that can really do damage to people if they can they just couldn't figure out a way to stop Walker Wood in the passing game.
As I look at the replay by William, it was Cooper who caught him. Here's a little pass out to the flat, to the 20, and lowering his shoulder down to the 15-yard line. I believe that was Jones. Yeah, Chris Jones. So Bryan Station will have it there.
Again, they're going to try to drive that ball in and score. There's about a minute to go in the third quarter, and they're moving the football again.
Yep, they're down by 31, so they're trying to make sure this is not a running clock, aren't they, Coach?
Yeah, I think Lafayette's got some subs in there right now. I notice there's some subs on the defensive line.
Burbage with Jones to his left, fires right side, and incomplete. Threw it a little bit behind the intended receiver, who was Desmond Bernard, the senior. Leading receiver coming in with 25 catches, and that was thrown a little bit behind Bernard.
Yeah, I think Jalen Burbage, his passing is just a shade off right now. Maybe he's been hit a few times, but I've noticed that he's short-arming the ball a little bit. That ball was thrown a little bit behind him.
19 of 29, 229 for Burbage, 3 touchdown passes, 2 picks. So East just beat Mercer 30-27. There's Burbage stepping up down to the 12-yard line.
Good Burbage. High school football tonight. Just good. I mean, the players are hitting hard. They're playing hard. Neither team, Lafayette's got the big lead, but defenders aren't giving up at all.
No, that was a good effort there by Burbage. We saw, as you said, Coach, on that run, it took Cooper to track him down, or he might have taken that to the house.
Yeah.
It's going to be 4th down.
You can't say enough for Lafayette's defense too. I mean, they've been against the wall a few times with this offensive team.
Trips out to the left for Burbage. Burbage rolling to the left. He's going to tuck it in Burbage, and he's got the first down. Does he take it in, or did he go out of bounds? Let's see what the official says. Looks like he might have.
There wasn't a call.
Touchdown. He is going to give him a touchdown.
It took forever.
Official walked down there and gave him a touchdown call.
I don't know what was going
delayed
on
touchdown. Yeah, if I've ever seen a delayed touchdown call in my 30-plus careers of Bryan, that was a delayed touchdown call.
It was. I think the back judge came running up and said, "Yeah, I think he got in." And the lines on that side said, "Man, I'm not too sure."
So how about Burbage? We talk about rushing, but Wood, Burbage nearly as good, 13, 139, and 2 touchdowns rushing for Burbage.
A lot of quarterback action in this game for sure.
And Station's going to go for 2, Coach.
Yeah, they should. They should. This is an opportunity. Even if they're that far behind with 5 seconds to go in the third quarter, you got to work on these things. These things are going to come important.
Burbage pressure, sets it up, and he's got his and that's going to be tackled on great defense as he found his man Rich, but he was tackled immediately. 2-point conversions, no good. 5.4 to go in the third, 5 seconds, and it's 58-33. Lafayette leading Bryan Station as Burbage scampers in for the touchdown from 16 yards out, and with 5.4 to go. Mingy Beef Jerky. You got to try this stuff, Mingy Beef Jerky. And we'll be back here, White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week, and the lead is Lexington Lafayette 58, Bryan Station 33.
I am Lee, and I'm happy with my smile.
And I'm other Lee, and I ain't happy with my smile.
I went to White Greer and Maggard, and they fixed my smile for me.
And I never smile, and that's why I'm having some alone time here at dinner.
I love that I can go to White Greer and Maggard with all my questions.
And I love that I don't have to brush my teeth at night.
Don't be like this, me. Go to White Greer and Maggard for a picture-perfect smile.
Lafayette, so they'll have it the 47-yard line. And, Coach, your thoughts about the National Football League this year? Any big surprises for you in the NFL?
Well, the young quarterbacks. The young quarterbacks, Simeon and these other
Prescott,
Dak.
Cowboys. And
it's just amazing these young guys come in. And not that they, you say, oh, they're going to manage the game. No, they're leading their teams.
Right.
They're actually doing a super job.
Yep. And we knew Dak Prescott was going to be a good
one. The Bengals got that win the other night, and they needed that win.
Yeah, last night they beat the Dolphins.
But they needed that win bad. And that was the ugliest uniforms. The uniforms the Dolphins had on, oh, my gosh, it gave me a headache.
Walker Wood, little screen pass right side, and it's caught there by his Newcomb. DeAndre Newcomb, he picked up nearly. That's going to do it for the third quarter. When we come back, fourth quarter action, Lafayette will have it at the 37-yard line of Bryan Station, and the Generals have 58 points on the board with a quarter to go. Bryan Station 33. We thought there'd be a lot of points in this game tonight. We thought it'd be a shootout. We'll head to the final quarter here on the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week.
Hi, this is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards. They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of our 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter. Locally owned and operated since 1972.
I'm not loving my smile. I should have got braces when I was a kid. I want my teeth to be straight.
Dude, go to White Greer and Maggard. So, I see you took my advice. Better?
Oh, better.
You're not you when your teeth aren't straight. Get started at White, Greer, and Maggard today.
We're back here, and next Friday our PrepSpin White Greer Maggard game of the week will be Lexington Christian at home against Williamsburg, Coach.
I have good memories of Lexington Christian, working with Paul Raines.
Yeah, you won a state title over there.
Did, had a lot of fun with them.
Walker Wood gets back inside now, running hard down to the 35. I believe that's Robinson, but it could be Cam Morgan. That's Cam Morgan.
Yep.
So Morgan, the ball carrier, as we start the fourth quarter.
Here's where I have a little bit of a hesitation here with keeping Walker Wood in the game. Not just because, you worry about somebody getting hurt, et cetera, but also, don't you have somebody else you need to work?
Well, Quentin Brown is the backup quarterback.
Yeah, give him some work. Give him some time behind center.
Was there hesitation? I mean, your son Ben Meehan was so good. He was also your son. So at what point did you say, hey, I not only got to pull my quarterback, I could get my son out there so he doesn't get injured?
Well,
Morgan. Rushing left side, and he's going to be run out of bounds.
First of all, he was as tough as nails, and he would actually talk to me after games and say, Dad, you should have left me in the game. I got some stories about that,
That
too,
does not surprise me with Ben Meehan.
Yeah, he wanted to be, and he wanted to play every phase of the game. But that's good. I mean, that's that leadership thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to say no.
And that's why he's
Ben, no son, but no Ben.
Yep.
You cannot stay in the game. We're not going to do that. I was not the kind of coach that wanted to run scores up either.
Right.
I just didn't believe in that. I didn't want to do that. I really wanted to get young kids an opportunity to play and young coaches an opportunity to coach them.
Because they practice hard all week, And here's Walker Wood. Helmet flies off.
Where'd that come
Wood
from?
rolling. Here's a flag. Wood still on his feet. Walker to the 20. Cuts it back 15. Juke steps a man. He's at the 10. And he goes and cuts it over to the far side. Another man cuts it back inside. He's going to go in for the touchdown. What a run by Walker Wood. You talk about a man that zigs and zags and just refuses to go down. There is a penalty marker down, though, as one of the linemen lost his helmet. Walker Wood, that could be another highlight reel right there. He's already been on SportsCenter Top 10 earlier against Boyle County. That could be another one right there.
I got one thing to say about that.
Whoa.
Da-da-dun, da-da-dun.
Yeah, I tell you, Walker Wood. Goodness, that's his fourth touchdown tonight, 182 yards rushing.
What was that? What happened to his helmet? I mean, this guy's helmet just flew off. He got ejected from the game. They ejected a Bryan Station player for yanking the helmet off of a Lafayette lineman.
They haven't, the scorekeeper here at Lafayette has not put that touchdown up there yet, but that penalty went against Station, so that touchdown's going to stand, and that makes it 64-33. The extra point here would make it 65-33, so they'd be up by 32 points. So Lafayette would need another score to.
But we broke 100.
Yeah, we did break 100. No, we're at 9. We're at Coach. We're at 97.
We're at 97.
I tell you, my Boone County math paying off right now.
Yeah, it is, boy. I wish it was paying off for them.
So Walker Wood with an electrifying run, and
it's their alphabet that's hurting
William,
them.
I'd say that's one you're going to send to SportsCenter, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
It's the alphabet that's hurting Boone County. They need a W.
Just go ahead and tell the desk there they have our approval to use it. Just tell them. I mean, they always say, can we use this for sport? Yeah, you could use it. Here's the extra point by Averett. It's up, and it is good. 65-33, 10:58 to go in this football game, and Walker Wood's absolutely putting on a show. We'll be back here on the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week.
I don't know what that was. That was a special
And Walker
play.
Wood doing his best Fran Tarkington imitation here tonight. And, of course, a lot of folks, Fran Tarkington, we'll Google it. He was a great runner for the Minnesota Vikings. You know who he was, Coach.
Absolutely. He was an excellent quarterback, first of all, throwing the football, too.
Yeah.
But he could scramble.
Little guy.
Yeah, little run around.
About 5'11". Of course, Montana was, 6 foot, 5'11".
Yeah. He didn't,
He wasn't a runner, though.
No.
Walker Wood, I tell you what, Kentucky fans watching this, you're going to enjoy, just like Mingy Beef Jerky, you're going to enjoy this stuff. You're going to enjoy the Walker Wood invasion at Kentucky. That kid is a special player. I don't care how big you are, or what your size is. Big things come in small packages.
Are they going to kick it deep this time?
With that penalty, they see what they do. Yeah, they're going to kick it into the, and that's going to be a touchback. So 10:58 to play, folks, and it is Lafayette 65, Bryan Station 33. I'm Gary Ball with Coach Mike Meehan, former Dunbar head coach, former Lexington Christian assistant, former Bryan Station assistant. Am I getting all those stops along the way, Coach?
You got them all. I've taught at a couple different places, but those are the 3 coaching responsibilities.
We're with the King of Stream, William Warfield, making it look so great tonight on that high definition. Joe Allen is our videographer, and catch the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week every Friday night here on PrepSpin in high definition, Coach. That HD just looks so crystal clear.
That's what we've been told by some people that tweeted us, actually talking about.
I'm looking right at it here on the monitor, Coach. It's just as clear there as what they're seeing. Here's Burbage. Airs it out left side, and it's going to be a fingertip catch to the 40, down to the 30, and that's going to be Curry, and Curry's going to take it to the house.
These stats are just out of sight right now. They really are.
Curry, what a catch, and what a throw by Burbage.
139 yards pass. That was what? That pass had to be, what was that ball on, about the 10? No,
well, they put it on the 20. 80-yard pass.
80-yard pass.
So Burbage now 20 of 30, 309 yards and 4 touchdown passes. And Curry, looking at Curry tonight, he has 4 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown 80-yarder.
Wow.
Goodness gracious.
It's just offensive crazy tonight.
If they make this, they're going to go for 2. It's 65-39. And listen to this. We still have 10 minutes, 48 seconds to play. Burbage rolling right, fires, and high and incomplete, trying to go for 2. So 10:48 to go in the ball game. On an 80-yard touchdown pass from Burbage, his 4th touchdown pass tonight to Curry is 65-39. Lafayette leading Bryan Station here on the White Greer Maggard High School football game of the week.
Freaky.
This reminds me of I'll say it when we come back, reminds me of a Cincinnati Moeller. We're back, okay. This reminds me of a game I called at Riverfront Stadium years ago, the old Riverfront Stadium, between Princeton and Moeller. That final was 52-48, 100 points exactly, Coach.
Man, we're going to break that.
We're going to break that. Here's a short kick and recovered up at the 45, covered up there by Lafayette. I think Cam Morgan jumped on that. He sure did. Cameron Morgan.
Neither team wants to kick the football, do they?
I know. It's the kicking game has really been, terrible in my opinion. But I mean, the extra point. I mean, Averett's been knocking. He nailed a 28-yard field goal and extra points. Didn't miss one when it was a high snap. But you know what? When you got offenses like this, I mean, Bryan Station. You know what? They're going to beat some people because they're going to outscore some people.
Yep. Absolutely.
They're just not going to outscore this Lafayette team. It's 65-39. Generals 10-40. We still got a whole quarter to play, Coach.
Yeah, and they were playing with the defenders were playing with the Generals until a couple of boo-boos. An interception and a.
Yeah, it was 21-20 at the end of the first quarter.
Right.
Handoff, and that's going to be down to the 48-yard line. I believe that is one of the backup running backs. Yes, it is. That's going. Oh, yeah, that's going to be for Lafayette. That's 38. I remember that kid ran the ball well last week against Henry Clay. We're talking about Cornell, Canada. Yeah, Canada, the ball carrier.
Theo Overton made the tackle. He came up and horse collar. Well, I don't mean it that way. I don't mean an illegal horse collar, but he came up and wrestled him like a cowboy.
Quentin Brown's in at quarterback, Coach.
All right, good. I want to see
Quentin
this
Brown in at quarterback for Lafayette. 10 minutes, 5 seconds to go, 65-39.
So then a run down there might be another top 10.
So we Walker Wood with another electrifying run tonight, and the coach was over doing the ESPN. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Hey, Coach Meehan, Walker Wood's mother, of course, I've known her forever. Coach Meehan said that's the best run he's ever seen.
It was pretty incredible. I was really impressed. Here's what I was really liked about it, by the way. The cutting and all that stuff, that's great. That's a great athlete. But when he saw the goal line, he turned his shoulders upfield and accelerated for the goal line. That's a guy that's hungry to score.
Yes.
And I like that.
Well, we appreciate that was a good description there, Coach.
I like it. I like that this wanting to get to the end zone.
Here's the
good
Brown
fake.
taking off from Brown to the 35 and drops down to the 34.
That was a good fake. It faked everybody out. Even the official moved over this way. There are some subs in there now for both teams, but again, this thing could keep going.
We got another shout out, Aunt Mo in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Is that right, Miss Wesley?
Where's that? What part of Pennsylvania?
Walker Wood's mother's up here in the press box. Of course, I've known the Wood family forever, since my Horseman days with the Horseman Arena team. We've been good friends for a long time. Walker Wood is the real deal, I tell you.
Jim Broadwater's grandson. That's what got me. I
right, and Lenny House's grandson, the late Lenny House. Here's the handoff, and that's going to be Serafini, and he's down to the 28-yard line. Austin Serafini. Serafini getting in on the action. We have 8 minutes, 42 seconds, and what an offensive explosion, 65-39.
There's a lot of points. I've said this before, both defensive coaches are going to sleep like babies tonight. Up every 2 hours crying.
Right. The offensive coordinators are going to be they've got some job security after tonight, both of them.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Over 100 points?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
100 and 4 to be exact. 65-39. Brown gets back inside now. Big fullback down to the – that's Serafini.
Everybody.
Serafini, of course, he's busy out there, guys, because with 65 points on the board, Serafini's been the guy holding the ball for the kicker tonight on the field goals and extra points. So Serafini says, hey, Coach, come on, put me in, let me run a few here. I'm tired of holding the football.
Let me do something else.
Exactly, besides placing it down for Averett.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of subs in there now, and, both teams are just, I'd like to see these young guys out there.
Right.
They're playing their hearts off.
I'm looking at a picture here. Somebody's got it. How big is that screen? 65-inch TV, and they got the PrepSpin game on there. Man, does it look good. I got to get me a 65. What's it take to get a 65? I got to call my good friend Bruce P-Rat over at P-Rat.
It takes a big living room.
Yes,
is what
sir.
It takes.
Flag comes down. Bruce P-Rat can hook me up, I tell you.
Another procedure penalty. What is this?
False start against Lafayette.
What in
false start against Lafayette? I don't know what's happened to our stat screen. Maybe Mr. Warfield, he's the king of streaming. He can probably figure it out.
It disappeared.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, second down. They blew the stat monitor up. Second down, and Quentin Brown's in there for Walker Wood. Wood finished with
another penalty, right?
Walker finished with 4 rushing and 3 throwing, 3 passing touchdowns?
Yes.
Mr. Wood tonight, the UK commit. The only big question here for Lafayette is we have 7 minutes to go in this game, and Lafayette leading 65-39 with Coach Mike Meehan, Gary Ball with William Warfield is Jed Wills, big number 73. We saw him coming into the stadium tonight. Where's he going to play his college football, Coach Meehan?
We're guessing. We were hoping to have a scoop tonight, but no scoop.
We told we want a scoop.
I'm saying Miami.
William Warfield saying Miami. Brown throws, skips it over to Newcomb.
Maybe he'll surprise everybody and go to Slippery Rock.
Maybe he'll surprise everybody and go to Cincinnati.
Yeah. Never know.
I'd say it'll be a SEC school. That's what I'll predict. Yeah. SEC school. I'll say either if he goes to UK, if not Alabama, Auburn,
right,
LSU. I don't know. LSU's got the coach with firing Les Miles now.
Right.
But Les is going home. He's going to laugh all the way to the bank with $12.9 million. You know, that's the only job, coaching, where they pay you to get rid of you.
Yes.
Why in our profession they say, hey, I'll give you $12 million just for you to go away.
Severance pay.
You know, severance pay. You're right. Newcomb, left side to the down to the 28-yard line. If they told me they'd give me $1 million to go away, I'd say, how far you want me to go?
I don't know. It'd be tough to leave this. I mean, honestly, high school football is just too much fun.
I know. I'm just. I say jokingly. I mean, to me, I tweeted out today. There's nothing like Friday Night Lights.
It is.
It's under the lights. It's a nice, crisp night tonight. We're seeing players like Walker Wood. We're seeing a star in the making in Jalen Burbage for Bryan Station. We're seeing defensive plays. What a great interception by Brendan Lane tonight. And I tell you, look at that run by Walker Wood. If that doesn't make SportsCenter, then I'm going to cancel my ESPN subscription. I'll just say that right now.
Yeah,
and they'll be bankrupt because I'll do that, I'm sure.
Middle screen.
Pass, middle screen, incomplete.
Another shout-out. One of my favorite people. You talk about trainers and Jenny.
Yes, sir.
The trainer here. When I was at LCA, and our trainer there was Andrew Carlson.
Yes.
And Andrew's watching a game tonight. He's watching on PrepSpin, and Lexington Christian, as you know,
they're off tonight.
They're off tonight.
Catholic's off tonight.
So he's free for that game. And Andrew, Gary Ball and I, we will see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Well, hopefully we're going to be doing that game and on PrepSpin, and it'll be great to talk to you maybe before the game. We'd like to meet up with you again.
Thanks to all you folks for watching tonight. I know a lot of fans go back and watch it after it's archived immediately. And there's a great picture. Is that on Twitter? Great picture of you and Miss Huber, Coach Meehan and William, with that halftime interview you guys had.
It was a good interview. She's a wonderful person.
She sure is. I'm impressed with her. She's Dean of Students at Lafayette, right? Students. Here's Burbage, and he's going to tuck it. He's got some room. Burbage, and he's going to take it up to the 43-yard line. About a 16-yard pickup for Burbage.
Putting some stats on, isn't he?
Yeah, we need to get go get Miss Leanne, and she'll fix that for us, and we'll be able to update you on Mr. Burbage's stats. If we can get Miss Leanne Clark or CJ back over here to fix the monitor for us. 6:24 to play, 65-39. That's the big number for Lexington Lafayette. They lead by 26. 6-17, and Burbage with a nice 16-yard run there. Jalen Burbage at the 43-yard line, 1st and 10. Burbage, he gives now to Jones. Jones running left, 45. Jones, 47, 48. Jones with a good effort up near midfield.
Nice job by that young man running the football, too.
Picked up about 7 yards. Devontae Hayes helped out. So 2nd down and 3. And with that rush, Burbage, 14 carries, 155 yards. Throws it left side, and it's going to be incomplete. Should have been caught there by Bryan Station's Shamar Rich, but he dropped it.
He did, but let's see, who was that? Number 25 got his hand in there and knocked the ball away. I think it's 35. Is it 35? No.
Burbage is now 20 of 31 for 309 yards and 4 touchdowns. Walker Wood finished with 4 touchdowns rushing, 19 of 29, 245, 3 touchdowns passing.
Nice move.
And that's Jones, the 45, down to the 40, 35. He is to the 30, 20, and run out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Chris Jones. I tell you what, Coach, Jones is a junior too, so you got Burbage a sophomore, Jones a junior. Some of these great receivers are underclassmen. Bernard, who's not had a particularly big game tonight with 2 catches, but 6 for Hunt. He's an underclassman. Jones is an underclassman. Curry's a sophomore, 4 catches, 127 tonight. Rich is a junior. They got a lot of these skilled people back next year at Bryan Station.
They do, and they're going to be really a threat next year.
Oh, big time. They've got 3 linemen back, too. Only a couple of seniors on that offensive line. There's Jones upended at the 15.
Good defensive play that time. Got some penetration. Jones does a nice job, too, of cutting up field. Again. Yeah, Walker again.
Walker, Devontae
nice
Walker.
Job.
He sure did. Walker, good-looking athlete. Burbage has the option. 10, Burbage 5, and run out of bounds inside about the 3-yard line. Jalen Burbage.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job. Jalen Burbage is doing something, too, that a quarterback needs to learn to do, and he's already learned it, and that is get out of bounds. Don't take those unnecessary licks. You know, you're close enough. Just get out of bounds.
4 minutes and 37 to go in this game. Burbage, quick pass out to Jones. Jones has a nose for that end zone, and he is going to find it. Touchdown, 4-yard strike from Burbage, and that is going to be Jalen's 5th touchdown pass tonight. And Jones hauled it in, and Jones with the touchdown catch, and that will be his 3rd touchdown catch tonight for Jones.
You know, this is amazing. It's only a 20-point difference in this game. There's only a 20-point difference in this football game.
Well, they're going for 2. They've done that a few times now, Coach, but they haven't made any of them.
Right.
Or be even closer. They're going for 2 again. Burbage. 5 touchdown passes now. Burbage rolling to the right. Burbage. And he's going to cut it back, and he's going to dive in, and he gets it this time. 2-point conversion is good, so Bryan Station making it respectable. Lexington Lafayette 65, Bryan Station 47. 4 minutes, 30 seconds to go here in this game here. We'll return on the White Greer Maggard High School Football Game of the Week.
I'm not loving my smile. I should have got braces when I was a kid. I want my teeth to be straight.
Dude, go to White Greer and Maggard. So, I see you took my advice. Better?
Oh, better.
You're not you when your teeth aren't straight. Get started at White, Greer, and Maggard today.
65-47.
Yeah, listen to these quarterbacks, Gary. Rushing. Just talk about rushing. Walker Wood is 182 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Burbage has 166 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
And I just got that 2-point conversion. And it looks like Bryan Station was able to jump on that ball there. There's a flag down.
I think the ball went out of bounds before it was touched. So that's a penalty on the kick. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a flag down. The young man jumped
side.
on it, but he might have been out of bounds. So it may have been the situation. So 4:29 to play. Lexington Lafayette trying to improve to 6-1. Bryan Station with some signature wins this year. They beat a good Wayne County team who's only got 1 loss. That was to Bryan Station. And, Coach, they beat a really good Madison Central team with only 1 loss to Bryan Station.
Yeah. I think Bryan Station, the thing that's going to hurt them as they get down and maybe in the playoffs is a team that can stop the run.
Right.
I mean, a team that can get to the quarterback and force him to run around but not let him run the football is going to hurt him.
Lafayette has 595 yards of offense. Station has 539. Lafayette on 71 plays. Station on only 57. Here's a direct snap, and with the ball is Flores, and he is down to the 42-yard line.
We got a holding penalty, though.
Darwin Flores.
Lafayette.
Yeah, holding penalty.
Yeah.
Stops the clock, 4:21 to play. After the game, of course, Mingy beef jerky. You got to try this stuff.
Yeah, but it's IOU.
It's IOU Mingy beef jerky. Of course, appreciate all of our sponsors: Whitaker Bank, All Sports, Bob Roberts Insurance, White Greer Maggard. Of course, William and I were out there a couple weeks ago with the plaque presentation to Dr. White for the great community service he does there at White Greer Maggard. They're just so great in the community of sponsoring high school kids all over the really the central Kentucky area.
And you can't stress that enough, Gary. These businesses, these local businesses that support high school sports, I mean, what more can you ask? You parents need to thank these people when you get an opportunity.
Flores, and pulled down at the 40-yard line by Station, and that was the big Emmanuel Sharp, the Sam linebacker. Boy, Sharp's he's a good one, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been
the
all
player
over
down might be cramping up, it looks like.
Yeah.
Way he's holding his leg up, he's cramping.
Jacobs, the trainer for Bryan Station.
Oh, yeah, Jake the Snake out of UK Sports Medicine. And
he's been around a long time as a trainer over there. He's a good guy.
Okay, you want to replay the touchdown by Wood? Okay, you got an injury timeout, so we have plenty of time to maybe play that.
Maybe we can count the number of people that he juked to miss the tackle.
Yeah, well, Boyle County, I think over at Boyle, you counted, Coach, what it was like 6 guys missed him over there, I think it was on that. So that was a little bit longer TD, too. That was about 63, 64 yards. But now let's take a look. Here's that Walker Wood touchdown run again, guys. Remember, one of the helmets is flying. What's the top of your screen, too? Because they practice hard all week, you know. And here's Walker Wood helmet flies off.
Where'd that come
Wood
from?
rolling. Here's a flag. Wood still on his feet. Walker to the 20. Cuts it back 15. Juke steps a man. He's at the 10. And he goes and cuts it over to the far side. Another man cuts it back inside. He's going to go in for the touchdown. What a run by Walker Wood. You talk.
It's 9 of the 11.
My goodness. I tell you what, he has the it factor, doesn't he? He has it.
He did. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Just all his moves, but his hunger for the goal line. I mean, that's just pretty cool.
And he will play at the University of Kentucky this next fall in 17. I don't think they'll redshirt that young man. Do you, Coach?
They're going to find a place for him, I'm sure.
So Flores in out of the direct snap, out of that wildcat, they call it. Flores dancing. Flores and running back the wrong way. Flores, and he is going to be tackled back at the 29. He's going to lose about 12, 13 yards on that one. Clock continues to run, 3.5 to play, and it is Lexington Lafayette 65, Lexington Bryan Station 47 here on PrepSpin.
Yeah, this has been an offensive show on both sides of the football. Bryan Station, let's give them credit, Gary. They never gave up. They never quit at all.
Right.
Some mistakes hurt them. Some penalties hurt them. But, again, they were in the game pushing. It's a neat story, too. Bryan Station is named after a fort.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm not real good at dates and specifics that way, but basically the way the story goes, that the fort was surrounded by the enemy, and the ladies of the fort, the women, snuck out or were let out to go get water. Otherwise, they would have died of thirst in there. So basically the defenders of the fort,
right,
were in a big way were the women of the fort. You know, it's really a neat story. It's a really cool thing. Sometimes people look that up. And it is a fort, and I don't know where it was, but I've never been able to find out where it was either.
Right, I have no clue where
the fort was.
I really don't.
Well, back in the day, we played, when I was coaching over there, Jake Bell was coaching at Henry Clay, and he always had these tricks he did. And it was like 1 minute before game time, and he wasn't there. And he brought his team into a hole in the fence in the back.
I do remember
snuck
that
his
story.
team through in a hole in the fence.
Flores, a keeper, and Flores is going to go down back and be sacked again on that third down. Clock running. Bryan Station's going to drop under 500 for the first time this year to 3-4, and Lexington Lafayette's going to improve to 6-1. They only lost to Louisville Trinity, a game we did here on PrepSpin back about a month ago or so. Trinity came in here and really played a well of a game. By the way, the Scholastic Ball Report Sunday at 12:30. Boyle County Girls Soccer on there. Harrison County Scholar Athletes. Highlights from all the games. Jenny Williams and Brittany Lighton co-hosting, my former intern. And, Coach, I've got a confirmation. Louisville Mail is going to be on the Scholastic Ball Report on a future date. How about that?
That'll be good. Coach Wolf?
Yes.
Nice coach. A really good program down there. Good academic school, by the way.
Lafayette also will be featured in the next week or two to come. Lafayette will be our team of the week. Ball bounces around and kicked by a Lafayette player, so they'll move the ball. That was kicked. Wasn't that kick, Coach, in midfield? Shouldn't that go back?
It should go back on. It's called first touch. So where the ball is touched first.
The official's right there. I think he's going to mark that right up near midfield. I think they're talking about it. 2:19 to play. Station will get the ball. They're down 65-14 47. And, Coach, how interesting could it be here if Station would score again, make it 65 to 53 and get 2, make it the final 65-55.
Yeah, it'd be a heck of a job. And I'm not surprised if it happens, to tell you the truth. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, poor Joe upstairs, he's up on top of the press box. It's getting a little chilly up there now, but, you know, he's been going that camera back and forth on the field, all these scores.
Right.
Fayette County shootout.
Fayette, yeah, this has been really, you know, you talk about offense. We knew there'd be some points scored. We said we thought Bryan Station would score some points, and they have 47, but Lafayette was 65. So, you know, you look at Chris Wolf and Mail last night. They played Thursday night football. They played PRP, a good Pleasure Ridge Park team, Coach, beat them 49-3. So Mayo looks like they're starting to gel as well, the defending 6A state champions.
Well, and my friend Curtis Cotton down in Bowling Green, one of the offensive coaches down there, he said that they're loaded again this year. They're undefeated.
Bowling Green?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, one of the polls I saw, I know Bluegrass Preps has a poll and all that, but one of the polls I saw this week, the Courier Journal Litkin House, they had Bowling Green #1 team in the state.
Yeah, they're really, really good.
219. My ball report top 10, I did not have Bowling Green #1, but Bowling Green does carry my show. Burbage gives it to Jones. Jones trying to run into his teammates. Jones and knocked backwards at the 47. The Scholastic Ballport, if you're in Bowling Green watching this game, you can watch it on WBKO. Just check the listings there for that. If you're in Eastern Kentucky watching this game tonight, you can watch it on WYMT there in Hazard.
We've talked about some of these teams in the area. Let's talk a little bit about Henry Clay. What's happened to Henry Clay this year?
They've got some skilled people, but last week against Lafayette, it was protection. They just couldn't protect the quarterback. And here's running hard Jones to the 30. He cuts it to the 40 side to the 20 and tripped up finally to 23-yard line.
There's going to be another score here if they keep doing what they're doing. And, you know, this is
how can you not like this Chris Jones kid?
I like him.
6'1", 170 junior. And Jones tonight, 9 catches, Coach, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns.
You know, we talk a lot about those 2 quarterbacks, but there's been some outstanding plays by other people.
Lafayette's got their entire freshman team in there playing right now. So Lafayette's freshman team in there playing, we understand.
Well, that's what you should do. You really do need to get a look at these guys.
Tell you what, 44 looks like a good prospect. Austin Blake, I got him listed as a sophomore, so there is a sophomore in there because I'm looking down at Austin Blake, 44, and it's a sophomore, unless he is a freshman, and they listed it wrong in the program.
We have a timeout. Lafayette called a timeout. I think they're trying to get some order in there. They got a lot of young guys in there, and they were probably lined up wrong.
So I go 2 deep on my Lafayette depth chart, and you're right. A lot of these kids aren't even on my 2 deep, so it is the freshman team. A minute to go in this game, 65-47. Great working with you again, Coach Me, and great UFOs at halftime. Great interview with Miss Huber and William Warfield. What can we say? King of Stream, soccer, volleyball, doesn't matter. Triple header.
Tate's Creek Showcase, soccer.
Tate's Creek triple header showcase tomorrow. Tate's Creek soccer.
So you have on your Scholastic Ball report a soccer team, a ladies soccer team that's 18-1.
Boyle County. Their only loss was to a Louisville team. They have not lost anybody in the area.
That's a heck of a record.
They beat LCA 3-0 last night.
Their only loss was to
Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart, the defending state champions, by the way, who are nationally ranked.
That's amazing.
That's Boyle County girls soccer. They're on Sunday at 12:30 on the CW. Burbage back. Burbage looking, throwing toward the end zone, and incomplete down there. Stops the clock, 54 seconds to go.
Yeah, that's that. Actually, it's kind of funny. That's a ball you're not supposed to put air under. That's a ball and Jalen Burbage will learn this. When you have that guy breaking past the linebackers and before the safeties, because the safeties are playing off pretty far, you want to zip it right by that linebacker's ear.
And, Coach, I have to laugh. You say that about Burbage. He's 25 of 37, 374 yards and 5 touchdown passes.
And he has a lot to learn.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know. That's why I said I had to laugh.
Yeah,
because his numbers are impressive for a sophomore.
All those little things, though, that will make him even a better quarterback in the future. You know, just the little things you have to learn. But again, I like the way the Lafayette quarterbacks and receivers work together.
Right.
back in the 90s, we had a Chip Franklin played a little bit for me, quarterback, and Ben and a few others.
Right.
Those guys, they worked out all year long. I mean, even in the winter, when there was snow on the ground, they went to the local tennis courts.
Right.
And threw the football back and forth, got used to each other, and learned each other's mannerisms and how the ball's thrown and how it comes off your hand. And I mean, it's just so much fun to watch these kids, these high school kids that care so much. What a great sport. Football is a wonderful sport.
Yes.
We're making it safer every year, which is wonderful. You parents out there. It just teaches so much.
And kudos to the Kentucky High School Athletic Association for what they do for all the high school athletes as well. Here is going to be a touchdown pass, and in for the score. And my goodness, all of a sudden, Hunt caught it over the middle and took it to the house.
Made a real nice cutback, and he's retrieving the ball for the official, which is a good thing to do. You don't want the officials upset at you. So
I was listening to your comment there about football and kind of lost track there, and then Hunt caught it and took it to the house.
I'm passionate about it.
Yes, you are.
And it can be a dangerous sport. You know, it's a collision sport.
Well,
but on the other hand, it teaches so much.
Here's quarterback Burbridge, and he's going to dive in. And this is exactly what I said earlier. If they get the touchdown, 2-point conversion, 65-55. But remember, there's still 46 seconds left.
Yeah, they're an onside kick for sure. You know, they've been – both teams have been – I mean, that's no
Coach,
surprise.
have you ever seen a game like this, 65-55?
Just that one time that we Darren Douglas and I did a game one time when you were not there. You were doing
Great
American Rivalry.
Yeah.
And I think that was the one when you were in somewhere where you ate bear meat or something.
Yeah, we were in Pisgah and Tuscola, North Carolina. Were playing. They had bear meat there.
Yeah. Gary Ball everywhere in the country.
There were 10,000 people at that game that night, Coach.
Yeah.
In North Carolina.
I believe it.
High school football, I tell you, I love it, and been calling it now. I started in Northern Kentucky in Erlanger, WHKK FM in 1983 doing a school board show, and then in 84 start. So, Coach, I'm in my 32nd year of calling high school football on the either now with PrepSpin and William Moorfield and webcasting or radio or webcasting, my 32nd year.
And it's come a long way, the technology.
Oh, yes. William has taken this to another level entirely. I know the fans out there watching. I know it's 65-55, so how can you not like the effort of both these football teams, particularly Bryan Station? There's no quitting this defender team.
Both teams.
Here's that proverbial onside kick rolling around, and let's see Station. Let's see what the call is here. And Station had it for a moment, but I think Lafayette was able to.
Yeah, that was Coach Parks. Coach Parks, he's been known to be a little bit emotional, and he got a little frustrated because they didn't get the ball that time, and he threw his papers up in the air.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is frustration, but, they probably should have had the ball. They had three guys over there for Station. One of them probably should have got on that ball.
Yeah, I think the ball just got away from them. But
if you're looking, if you're just tuned into PrepSpin, you're saying, is that right? Is that a basketball game that broke out there, 65-55? I wonder who the leading rebounder was.
Yeah, you would think that because these offenses and these quarterbacks have been pretty incredible. And you know what? I started to say before, we mention these quarterbacks all the time, but we've gotten some new names now, some kids that have really stepped up and done a super job. The receivers from both teams.
Yes. You've got Chris Jones, 9 catches, 111 yards. How about Hunt? 7 catches, 5 for 130 for Kendrick Curry.
Yeah. And Guilfoyle, I'll tell you, that kid, he's taking lick after lick and catch the football.
Yes, no doubt. He's got 5 catches. Brown, 8 catches, 81 yards, and 2 scores. And I think they're just going to let the clock run out. Yeah, both teams have agreed to just let that clock run out. And Bryan Station head over this way. Final score, it was a shootout at the OK Corral, Coach, Ishmael Stadium, 65-55. We had a total of 120 points scored in this game, Coach. 65-55. Lafayette wins it. They go to 6-1. Station drops to 3-4.
That's one of the best 3-4 teams I've seen.
Yes. Well, again, we want to thank everybody. Thanks to Mingy Beef Jerky, Bob Roberts Insurance, all the folks, White Greer, Maggard. Thanks to William Moorfield. We're going to take a break and come back, William, or just wrap it up? We'll wrap it up. So the final score, Lexington Lafayette 65, Lexington Bryan Station 55. Until next Friday night for another big PrepSpin White Greer Maggard game of the week. This is Gary Ball for Coach Mike Meehan and William Moorfield and Joe Allen. so long from Ishmael Stadium as Lafayette wins it 65-55 over Bryan Station.